trophy. What will 2002 bring? Today, the defending champion Colorado Avalanche take on arch rival the Detroit Red Wings, featuring a roster of future Hall of Famers and the best record in the NHL. The young and talented Bruins brace themselves for Jaromir Jagr and the Washington Capitals as they look to turn it up in the new year. And in Pittsburgh, Mario Lemieux's Penguins welcome the surprising New York Rangers. But will Eric Lindros play? Another season of the fastest, toughest, and brightest stars in the world. The NHL on ABC. Next.
They have been watching hockey inside this arena called the Igloo for 40 years, and since 1967 it's been the NHL. The NHL on ABC, as this afternoon we have a goaltender in the crowd, we have two on the ice. It's the Penguins and the New York Rangers. Good afternoon, along with Barry Melrose. I'm Mike Emery. Great to be back with you again on ABC. And the question that was asked at the top of the show, will Eric Lindros play? And the question is answered.
He's going to play, Mike, and every hockey fan should be happy he's going to play. The New York Rangers spent a ton of money the last 4 years bringing in star players. It hasn't worked. They missed the playoffs the last 4 years. What Eric Lindros has brought to this team is a belief that they are a playoff team. They're a good hockey club. They played 5 games on the road. They're .500 on the road without Eric in the lineup. That tells me this team is starting to believe in themselves, Mike.
Well, this is the 6th game of a 6-game road trip. They don't play again till Wednesday. Should Eric have waited till then to come back?
Well, they're taking a lot of heat in the New York papers about Eric waiting till Wednesday. I don't think they should. You can't win the Stanley Cup in January, folks, but you can miss the playoffs in January. They're playing a team, Pittsburgh, a team in the Eastern Conference, a 4-point game, a team they might have to beat to make a playoff spot. They realize that. That is why Eric Lindros is playing tonight.
No Mario Lemieux today, out with the hip problem until at least Tuesday. But Alexei Kovalev is the leading goal scorer, and he's been one of the more exciting players on this team.
He's one of the most exciting players in the world, Mike, when he's playing well. But unfortunately for Pittsburgh, Alex hasn't been consistent this year. He's got back-to-back hat tricks earlier in the year, but he's only got 13 goals. This is one of the top offensive players in the world, folks. He must pick it up for Pittsburgh until Mario gets back in the lineup, and a little bit later in the year until Straka gets back, Mike.
Okay, into the crystal ball. What do you expect?
I expect Rangers to play their best game of the road trip. They played good in Colorado, but they know this is the last game. And again, it's an Eastern Division game. They got to win it.
Hedberg and Richter are the goaltenders. Eric Lindros with his back. He's part of that fly line. And the other two guys are Theo Fleury and Mike York. The F, the L, and the Y. The NHL on ABC coming up after these words.
John Saunders and John Davis in the NHL on ABC. Pittsburgh and the Rangers coming up. Pittsburgh has to find a way to score. Right now on pace to score fewer goals than the lockout season when there were 48 games played. This is the Penguins.
Yeah, really. And, you know, with Mario Lemieux not in the lineup due to injury, who's your next best player? It's Alexei Kovalev. Now, he missed a month because of a knee injury and has only 13 goals in 26 games. Not a bad pace, but they need Alex to score more for them right now, at least until Mario gets back. Now, think about this, John. The Pittsburgh Penguins have scored 15 power play goals total all season. Peter Bondra plays in Washington. He has 12 power play goals by himself. Pittsburgh's got to get the power play going, and Mario, they need you back badly.
No Lemieux and no Jagr makes a huge difference. Now for the New York Rangers, Eric Lindros is back in the lineup after missing 4 games with a slight concussion. He says he's okay, fine, and ready to play. Between periods, we'll hear more from Lindros. Here's a sample.
I knew the severity of it. Right off the bat, I knew it wasn't a major one. I knew it wasn't even, you know, a mid-grade concussion. It was very minor. I felt confident in the fact that things would return.
More from Eric between the second and third periods. The Rangers need him. They've lost their last 3. This guy, 19 goals, 20 assists in 37 games. He's coming up.
The NHL on ABC, brought to you by Chevy Trucks, the most dependable, longest-lasting trucks on the road. Bud Light, the proud supporter of the NHL. And Southwest Airlines, official airline of the National Hockey League.
Welcome back. Before our game starts, we spoke with the Penguins' Darius Kasparaitis, one of the guys who gave Eric Lindros a concussion. And we asked him, going into a game like this, does he think about it?
Of course, you're always concerned about other player, and it's going to be tough, but I have to do my job. I have to finish my checks, and, and it's going to be hard, to play against Eric, but he's a good player. You have to keep him, always, you have to hit him all the time, That's what happens in this game, and but I'm thinking about it, I'm worried about him, and I'm thinking about it.
Kasparaitis starts, Lindros starts. Lindros with Fleury and York, Malakoff and Leach the defense. And for the Penguins, Robert Lang, Alexei Kovalev, Jan Hrdina up front, Kasparaitis and Roosevelt the defense for Pittsburgh.
Well, Kasparaitis will be against Lindros all night long. He plays against all the other team's best players, and Eric Lindros certainly is the New York Rangers' best players. They got a history. Kasparaitis is leading the NHL in hits. We know Lindros' history with the concussion problem, so this will be a matchup that we'll be talking about all night long, Mike.
Well, the Rangers have had their troubles against Pittsburgh. They are 0-7-1 against the Penguins in the last 8. Mike Richter starts for the Rangers. Johan Hedberg for Pittsburgh. Hedberg will represent Sweden in the Olympics, and Mike Richter the United States. Down to the ice in the neutralized area goes Fleury, and it's dealt back in.
Just a little bit of surprise. They thought Blackburn was going to play this game. They wanted each goalie to play 3 games on this road trip. So already Ron Lowe has shown how important this game is to the Rangers. Lindros is in the lineup when maybe a lot of people think he shouldn't be, and Richter's playing instead of the youngster Blackburn.
Kasparaitis, the leading hitter in the league, and he collected one early here on Lindros. Icing touch-up. Let's check in with the third man on our telecast this afternoon, Dave Strader.
All right, Mike, thanks very much. We all know that Eric Lindros suffered the 7th documented concussion of his career earlier in this road trip. It happened December the 28th in San Jose. What was different about this play, though, was that Eric was the one doing the hitting. We usually see him getting blindsided by an opposing player. Now, his right glove appeared to maybe make contact with his head. They were so concerned that they flew Dr. Karen Johnston, who's the same physician that cleared him to play prior to the season, all the way from Montreal to Edmonton to meet with Eric. And, Doc, they're focusing on the recovery being so quick, not the nature of the hit, but I know Barry Melrose has some concerns about the nature of that hit.
Well, I'll play devil's advocate, but I'm worried about what a little hit it took to give him the concussion. So, yeah, he got back from it really quick, but if that little hit gives him one, what happens when he gets his bell rung big time?
He was on the bicycle 2 days later and in practice right after that. Well, Matthew Barnaby gets that one on for a good backhand attempt by Radek Dvorak that's blocked aside by Hedberg. Yeah, you're indeed right. That is the other concern on how quick it came. But Dr. Karen Johnston said the symptoms were good. He was cleared very early, and it was up to him to decide. And you're not at all surprised that he would decide this, whether you advocate his decision or not.
Eric wants to play. Every athlete wants to play. He wants to get in this lineup, help his team that had a good road trip. He wants to make it a great road trip. Anytime you come off a road trip, especially a 6-game road trip, and is over 500, you've been great.
Hedberg stops this one behind. Early stages of our contest. Mike Richter has only 1 win in the last 8 against Pittsburgh. The Penguins have had great difficulty, though, winning lately. Only 1 win in the last 10, and that's the poorest mark over 10 in the league. This one skipped in and is held on to by Hedberg. Well, it wasn't that long ago that Kasparaitis and Lindros met up in a big way here, right in this arena. As you see, Lindros with 39 points so far.
Well, he's been great. I don't think anyone that thought this trade thought he was going to be this good this early in the season. Right here, Kasparaitis, he knows his job. You play against number 11 for Pittsburgh, you're going to get run into. Eric knows that. He doesn't want any special treatment. Kasparaitis isn't going to give him any special treatment. But we mentioned they're going to be on the ice a lot against each other. Eric's got to keep his head up, and Kasparaitis will be looking for him along the boards and in the center of the rink.
Some of the Rangers were playing soccer out in the hallway when we summoned Kasparaitis to come down for an interview. Darius decided he wanted to drive the golf cart that they used to get down the ice because they're sometimes wearing skates or barefooted. He almost plowed into the Rangers playing soccer. I don't think they'll let him drive again.
I love Kasparaitis. He's such a character. You got to cheer for guys like that. I want him to see him make an all-star game. Mike Richter, I think, has been fabulous this year for the New York Rangers. He sees more shots any other team in the playoffs goaltender sees. All the teams usually around 25 to 28 to 32. Mike Richter sees over 40 shots regularly for the New York Rangers, and he gets the job done. He's one of those goalies, Mike, that plays better with the more shots he sees. Your goaltender with the New Jersey Devils, Marty Brodeur, I think is the other way around. He's one of the goaltenders that doesn't see a lot of shots and plays well in that situation. But Mike Richter knows he's going to see a lot of shots and really is better because of it.
Dan Blackburn is the other goaltender for the Rangers, and he has been outstanding at age 18. Together, they have a save percentage of .914, and that has been, not to take upon the saving grace of the Rangers, and the reason that they are as high up in the standings as they are.
And Ron Lowe says he wants Blackburn to play about 30 games this year to expel Richter off. Hedberg didn't play Thursday night against the Islanders. Aubin played. Hedberg is the #1 goalie. Has played very well this season for Pittsburgh on a team that gives up a lot of 2-on-1s, does not score a lot of goals. You see his numbers, the save percentage. Anything over 9, folks, is very, very good in the NHL. Your goals against, anything in the 2s is good. This has not been a problem for them until recently. Look at his numbers of late, the goals against and the save percentage under 9. So those are two numbers that he has to fix for this team. This team needs a goaltender to steal a game for them, Mike.
Joseph Melakar plays on defense. Hedberg's main concern, and it's been echoed by other goaltenders who do tend to stick together, is that he's been interfered with a lot. He actually snapped out in a recent game against Washington. But here's big Christoph Oliva with a chance. Oliva with a backhander, and it went just wide. Sandy McCarthy moves to that one, and it's chipped away from him by Toby Peterson. Loose puck dug out, fed by Oliva to the back, but then started back out by Steve McKenna.
Mike, there's some beef out there right now for those two teams, boy.
So this would be translated to riots and ugly things, but maybe we should have one.
This is all the big boys out there for both teams right now. The energy guys, the guys that drop to go out and stir things up and protect their players. So they're facing each other for the first time tonight.
Brian Berard, another of the miracle stories of a guy who had an eye injury but is playing hockey, threw that one wide, and Theo Fleury, who came back to this team and has starred coming out of rehab, threw that one on goal that Hedberg took. Now back ahead comes Jan Hrdina, chipped it on a cross, and it's controlled, and then swaggering is Kovalev, and a shot that went just wide. Thrown to the front by Roosevelt, chipped just away from Kovalev. Kovalev flips it on back. It's tapped by Lang for Kovalev. Still working for it, but Eric Lindros is up with it. Lobbed one along that spiked on back further, and this will go down for an icing touch-up, but it's cut off by Hedberg. He flings it back along, and Hrdina can connect back out with Robert Lang, and he's got Kovalev moving on in. Kovalev protects. Oh, and a marvelous save made by Richter on that one.
Well, that's vintage Richter. He's one of the goaltenders that move as well as anybody. He goes side to side better than I think anyone in the NHL, and you saw that mobility.
Kasparaitis a shot, and Richter covers, and play is stopped.
Great movement there. You saw the speed of Kovalev. You saw the passing of Robert Lang. It goes all the way back again down to the other end. Pittsburgh right there. It's waved off. Hedberg sees it. He touches it. So what happens now? Great transition, folks, when it goes from defense to offense. Robert Lang sees Kovalev. And look at that mobility, side to side, and he keeps his pads on the ice. That's a key to a goaltender like Richter. The pads have to be on the ice because Kovalev wants him to spread the legs, and he's going to throw it on the ice between the legs. But that doesn't work with Richter. Don't forget, Kovalev used to play with the New York Rangers, so he's faced Mike Richter in practice a million times. Richter knew what he was going to do and ate Kovalev up in that situation.
Rick Keogh, when he took over after the first 4 games were losses under Ivan Hlinka, said we're going to be more defensively responsible. Well, that part has worked pretty well, but they haven't gotten much offense. Nice to see them taking a few risks here already, though.
They cut every team down in the NHL, including their own. They can't score now. No one scores in Pittsburgh when they play.
30 teams in the NHL, and Pittsburgh's offense is 26th. It has to go back to the days of the powdered blue jerseys, since they had an offense that was so low in the league. Because there was Lemieux and there was Jagr. Speaking of Lemieux, we're looking forward to getting a chance to talk with him a little later on in our telecast today up here in the booth. Offside. Let's check in with our 2 guys back in the studio, John and John.
Happy New Year's, guys. Here's the update. Colorado and Detroit. Crash the net. Hayduk with the shot. Hasek the save.
Tactic to the net. Skula moves in. The 4th man on the rush with Ray Bourque retiring. Skula getting more ice time. He's becoming a star.
Avalanche with a 1-0 lead. Guys.
Right there's Alexei Kovalev. I said he used to play with the Rangers. He got traded for Peter Nedved, who now belongs in the Rangers. Two great offensive players. Their numbers are very, very similar since the deal was made. Just about identical offensive numbers, both these great offensive players. The only difference is Nedved hasn't been in the playoffs since he went to the New York Rangers. Kovalev has been in the playoffs every year that he's went to Pittsburgh. Peter Nedved a Czech, Kovalev a Russian player. Both will be in the Olympics. Again, look at those numbers, how close they are. Games played just about identical. Points very, very close. Power play goals, you obviously see they both are great power play players. And game-winning goals, so they both score in the clutch for both these teams, Mike. So very identical numbers.
Peter Nedved played for Team Canada in 1994 when the Olympics were held in Norway.
See, Nedved defected. Kovalev did not defect from Russia. Nedved defected from Czechoslovakia back in about 1989.
Kovalev, like Kasparaitis, was a member of one of the greatest teams I've seen in the last quarter century. Probably one of the two best. The 87 Oilers that won the Stanley Cup, in my mind, the best. And then the unified team representing the former Soviet Union at the Olympics in '92. 14 of those guys came to the NHL and fast. Turned aside. Now, that was when it was still an amateur tournament.
Yeah, right.
Hedberg turned it around behind.
Those guys were professional. Who are you kidding?
Well, that was in quotes because,
yeah, exactly.
The U.S. and Canada used amateurs, or those classified as. Eric Lindros was a part of a Canadian Olympic team back in those days in '92. Speaking about that to us this morning. Puck punched right back along, and it's Melikar taking over on defense for Pittsburgh. Rolled it along, but Brian Leetch got it there. Across for a shot that snapped out of the air by Hedberg from Johansson. Well, Monday night, join Al Michaels, Dan Fouts, and Dennis Miller for the season finale of Monday Night Football. Ray Lewis and the Ravens host Randy Moss and the Vikings. We've seen a coaching change. See all the action at 9 Eastern, 6 Pacific on ABC. For more information, log on to ESPN.com, keyword Monday Night Football.
You know, it's interesting, Mike. It looks like Pittsburgh, who gets the last change, is willing to have Lang's line with Kovalev and Hrdina play head-to-head against Lindros' line. Again, it's Pittsburgh's choice, so they want to match up their offensive line against the New York Ranger offensive line.
What do you think?
Well, I like it because it puts pressure on the offensive players.
Leach a shot that sailed wide.
I always played Gretzky against the other team's best player. I thought it motivated Wayne. It said that I think my offensive player is better than your offensive player, and I think that's what Pittsburgh's doing, and Rangers don't mind at all.
Here's Kasparaitis with a pass. Got it back again from Hrdina, but it's broken up and then tapped back to center. Well, you coached Robert Lang in Los Angeles. Would he be your idea of a defensive-minded centerman?
Much, much better now. Robert's a much more complete player in the NHL today than he was in '94. And he's a guy that's going to be a total free agent. He's going to get a lot of attention this summer when he becomes a free agent.
Penalty coming up against the Rangers. A little holding being done there. Just counting on the fact there won't be two. It's touched up. And so with 6:29 gone in the first period, a scoreless game, but that might change on the power play. Theo Fleury has been there a few times. He is now second in the NHL, breaking a tie behind Kevin Sawyer, the NHL leading penalty getter.
But Theo does not have a fighting major. Sawyer's got a ton of fighting major. He's leading the NHL. Right there, folks, that's called an undisciplined penalty in the NHL. You slash the guy who did not have the puck. You could have called a bunch of things. But one thing Theo has is emotion. He gives that to you every night. He wears his heart in his sleeve.
In the well-paid fiefdom called the NHL, there are 30 teams. You're looking at the 30th penalty killing unit against the 30th power play, and that's a shock in Pittsburgh, where they've always been very prominent on it. But here's a feed across for Lang's shot that was just lacking a lot of what he wanted. Darting around behind, it is worked on by Lacouture to Lang, then back on the point to Laukkanen. Kovalev's shot, and there was a lot of tanglement of players in front, and it ricocheted off one of them and came back. Now it's brought back out by Johansson. Drops it back off, and it's spiked away from Samuelsson, and back ahead comes Kovalev again. Alexei Kovalev moves it along to Lang, and that went deeper, but it's glassed back out as we're nearing the halfway point of the penalty kill.
You forgot one thing, Mike. Pittsburgh's given up the most shorthanded goals in the NHL with 7. They gave up one Thursday night against the New York Islanders in the turning point in that game. So their power play has been a disaster offensively and defensively this season.
Well, historically, they've had a lot of league leaderships in their times, but not this type.
Not this type, no. You're expected this team to be the best power play in the NHL. Mario and Straka and Lang and Kovalev and players like that. It's not that way anymore.
Kovalev hands it back across, and it is controlled by Stefan Richer with 38 to go, and Richer just walks it back.
Pittsburgh used to be able to get it in very quickly and set it up, and then they would look for the shot, usually Mario on the far side. Right now, they haven't quite found who they want to shoot the puck on the power play, and they're not getting it to the net enough, Mike, either.
That was an offside that stops the clock with 11:58 to go in the first period of a scoreless game.
Well, let's go back to Theo Fleury. He's only 5'5", folks. This guy is one of the bravest men in the NHL. He's got to protect himself. He's got to let people know that they can't take liberties on him. 12 minor penalties. That's 24 minutes. 2 unsportsmanlike conduct penalties. 2 10-minute misconducts. 2 game misconducts. 1 match penalty. And a couple other things. And it's also reported that he took a swipe at S.J. Sharkey, the mascot of the San Jose Sharks the other night. So he goes after everybody. He doesn't care.
Well, out of costume, what does S.J. go?
I think S.J. is about 130. The field's not a lot of not much heavier than that.
No, here's one flipped to the front and deflected wide by Beach. Played right back along and out to center, where Rosabal has to hurry it across and gets it over to Janssen slowly for the drive back in. Penalty time is up, so the Rangers have killed it off.
And really, Pittsburgh had 1 good shot from the point by Kovalev, so that's not enough in today's power plays in the NHL.
Here's Theo Fleury bringing it on. Shoots one that came across to York, and he pushed it off the back of the goal. Looked like an attempted shot that just failed. Here's one that's definitely on goal and held by Hedberg, and so play once again is halted. John Saunders and a famous landlord named Davidson.
Famous, but not very friendly. Boston and Washington, the shot comes from the point, and watch Joe Thornton with a little redirect.
See something, a floating wrist shot. Thornton deflects the puck past the glove, and off the face-off, a big win by Thornton back to Murray. He's got 18 goals.
6 goals in his last 6 games. You guys need a room?
I heard it's a mansion. I heard JD lives in a mansion out in Westchester.
He does.
Rich guy. Let's look at this last play, because Hedberg's been complaining about how much contact he's getting in front of the net. And right here I agree with him. Southwest Airline goal cam. You see York come in. He gets that leg. He drags it. He hits Hedberg in that situation. The defense has got to keep the forward away from him. He cannot go in there. Right there. You see that little kick right there? Oh, goaltenders are taking advantage of. Poor guys.
The bouncer in front is kicked through traffic and given on to Kovalev. Starts it out to Lang. Well, this unit's seeing a lot of ice time. If they are the matched line, they will, because the fly line will be out a lot for New York, and the puck scaled out of play. I understand what Hedberg is saying. As we look at fly line numbers, we'll get back to Hedberg in a moment, but he's getting hooked in the elbow or at the back of the stick.
Yep.
Right up in there on the top of the stick, and all that does is just throw your momentum and your focus off for a split second. Well, by the time you get it back, it may be in the net.
I can guarantee you the defense have to do a better job for Pittsburgh also. You see how the Ranger players on the inside, the Pittsburgh defenseman has to be on the inside, so the player has to go through the defenseman to get to the goaltender. That's why guys like Brodeur and the players on really good teams, the goalies, don't get banged as much, because the big bodies like Scott Stevens and Danico know how to play defense and they use defense positioning. Pittsburgh defense isn't doing that. Thus, the forward or the offensive player is always face-to-face with Hedberg or Aubin. That's got to change, number one. And when a goaltender is complaining about it, you know it's bothering them, so you do it even more.
Over 16,000 watching here this afternoon. The Bruin game on Tuesday is likely to be sold out. As soon as Mario announced he was coming back Tuesday, all of the tickets that were being bought changed from this game to the Boston game.
It's called a license to print money. Just announced Mario's playing in your building.
Puck to the back. Drive by Klocek is saved by Hedberg, and Dan Lakator brings it back out. Pass across is kicked in on an offside by Tom Kostopoulos, and play once again is stopped. You know what? They've got to get gate sharing in the league. That's what
that's going to go over. Yeah.
A percentage of the gate in the visiting.
Yeah, the New York Rangers and teams like that are really going to agree to that. Sold out every night. They're going to help their poor brothers out. Don't work like that in sports, Mike. You know that. Right there's Ronnie Lowe. I talked to him this morning. Very happy. Yes, with the results, they got 50 points, but more so with the work ethic of this team. He feels that they're working as hard as anybody you play against, and as a coach, that's all you're asking for. Work as hard as whoever you're playing against, you have a good chance of winning. Rick Keogh, I mentioned right here, folks, he had black hair when he started coaching, coming out of the assistant ranks. Now you see it just about white. A couple more games and power plays like we saw in the first period, it will be sheer white. So Rick Keogh, as an assistant coach, you make suggestions. As a head coach, you make decisions. Decisions are a lot harder to make.
When did you first start to get gray? Maybe during a stick measurement in the, well, never mind.
I was perfectly black-headed until '94.
That was after the big year.
Yeah, well, you don't lose your hair when you win. You lose your hair when your team struggles. But you also coach when you struggle. You don't. When your team is playing well and winning, you just make sure you got the right players out. Now you really got to coach.
Down for an icing. 9:50 left first period. No score in this contest. Eric Lindros, first game back after 4 out with a concussion.
Dave Strader back here in Pittsburgh. Barry was talking about Peter Nedved. It was 13 years ago this week that he defected from his touring Czechoslovakian junior team while in Calgary. It was so secret he got the help of a friend that he didn't even want to name at the time. His parents, Barry, didn't even know about it. There's been questions about Nedved. Does he really want to play in the league with some of his contract holdouts? But he made a pretty gutsy decision that his parents didn't even know about when he was just 17 years of age.
Well, I was coaching Seattle Thunderbirds at the time. We owned his rights, and our scouts in Calgary helped him defect from the midget tournament, from the Max tournament in Calgary, a very prestigious midget tournament. He held out and hid out with the Czech community, and he came and skated with us after the team left the country. I saw him as a 16-year-old. He was very skinny. He was about the same height as he is now, about 6'3", only weighed about 150 pounds then, but he came and skated with us. He never did play for me as I left and got on with my glorious coaching career that year, but it was a great story. We watched Peter defect, and that was my first James Bond intrigue situation as a coach in the NHL.
First of about 600. So here's Klocek with a pass that is allowed to go back down on the Johansson miss. Flipped back off the wall by Hans Janssen. Curls around near Randy Robitaille, just claimed off waivers from Los Angeles yesterday. They were going to send him to the American League for the Manchester squad in New Hampshire, and no one can play this just now, and so finally the whistle is blown on the illegal pass. The NHL on ABC continues next Saturday, and do we ever have some good matchups in regional action? 3 fantastic ones, Rangers and Flyers with Eric returning to Philadelphia, the Stars and the Red Wings and the Blues right back here in Pittsburgh. Starting time will be 1 Eastern, 10 a.m. Pacific. Check your local listings for the game in your area.
Well, right there, people are saying, why would the Pittsburgh draft a guy like Randy Robitaille off waivers? This team is struggling, folks. They're just looking for anybody that can supply some offense, some depth. They're hoping that Randy Robitaille, who's been a good scorer in the American League, who was American League Player of the Year one time, can come in and just put some energy, some emotion in the Pittsburgh team that's really down right now. You get Mario back Tuesday, maybe Robitaille can score some goals and get a little bit of emotion. So that's what they're looking. It's just a Band-Aid to stop the bleeding, and there's a lot of bleeding here in Pittsburgh right now, Mike.
We were talking earlier about the 18-year-old for today backup goaltender, Dan Blackburn, staying at John Davidson's house. There have been other stories like that, but none necessarily involving John.
No, John's first thing is a billet. Junior, a billet usually gets paid about $130 a month. I don't know if John's charging him $130 or more, but junior kids, 18-year-olds eat a lot, I can guarantee that. A lot of milk they go through. I don't think John's got like a cow on the premises or anything like that. I don't think they allow livestock in Westchester.
Brought back out for a little pass ahead that is given across for a shot by Samuelson that is deflected and then cleared away by Robitaille. John asked us if we needed a room. There's not much available in Pittsburgh because the Browns are coming here. And their fans have taken most of the hotel rooms. Right in on goal and a stoppage made by Hedberg. Let's hear from those guys again.
Well, someone who's been setting up residents around the goalkeeper is Corey Stillman today. A hat trick, Pronger with the head pass.
This is going to be a hat trick for Stillman. He had 6 goals going in. He's got 9 now. Lou's having a big one. And for Barry, this kid would embarrass you in Scrabble because he sure embarrassed me in Scrabble.
Well, it's Scrabble. Is there hitting in Scrabble?
You know what? See, John keeps trying to put together those combinations that have S's and Z's, especially since the Z's get more points, but you're not allowed Russian and Polish names.
Hockey players do not play a lot of Scrabble, folks. I can guarantee. I've been in a lot of buses in my life. Scrabble was not widely played.
But John was a goaltender, so since Blackburn is, that explains it. They're so cerebral. Thrown back along now for Sandy McCarthy. What was that look all about? Thrown to center, and here's Pellikar. Pellikar starts to move it along. Neither team has scored. The Rangers have outshot the Penguins 8-2. Now ahead Peterson on the drop to Oliva, and that one punched right back out. Another try, and a great stop by Richter. as the shot came through from Kevin Stevens.
Well, good news is this line has been the had the best chances for the Pittsburgh Penguins. Stevens, Olawa, and Toby Peterson, the little centerman. The bad news is that this is a line that's supposed to go out there and bang and finish their checks and create some emotion. Olawa had a good chance earlier in the game. Stevens from the slot, and they're just working hard right now. You see the turnover. Peterson's got some jump. Now watch Olawa coming right behind in the shooting lane. Misses the net, but the puck stays right there, and Stevens, who has been a goal scorer in his past, a 50-goal scorer as a matter of fact, gets it on net. Get it on net, attack the net, hopefully there's a rebound or a loose puck. That's how Pittsburgh has to start scoring their goals until Mario gets back. Then they'll become a little bit fancier line. Olawa, 29, got 2 points Thursday night against the Islanders. So the wrong guys are getting the points for Pittsburgh right now.
Off this face-off, it is spun along and able to nudge it ahead to Brian Leach was Malakoff. It's angled back and grabbed off now and banked in by Hans Jonsson. Tapped on for a little sweep by Klocek. Kept alive, though, for the Penguins. And here's a shot in front by Wayne Primo that's blocked and then covered by Richter. And so play is stopped. Mike Richter's been tremendous. Got protection, too. For 14 seasons, Mike Richter has manned the New York Rangers net, backstopping the team to its first Stanley Cup in 54 years back in 1994. But a pair of serious knee injuries threatened to end his impressive career. However, with focus and determination, Richter has regained his form and the hopes of a team looking to get back to the playoffs.
He's been awesome this year, Mike. I can't say enough. His record doesn't show what he's done for this team. Earlier in the year when they weren't in sync, they weren't playing great, they were bringing Lindros into the fold slowly. He wasn't in great shape. Mike Richter carried this team on his back. His numbers are great. He competes every night. He never complains about the number of shots he sees. This is a guy that's missed the playoffs 4 years in a row, and you've never once seen him say, I want out of here, I want to go to a contender. Great competitor.
Primo in on this faceoff. Opposite Peter Nedved. Won by Nedved. Banked back around for turning tap by Johansson. Came back across now for a little lead ahead for Nedved. Nedved wedged one in front that is slung back off the glass by Laukkanen. So if you were awarding a pre-Olympic Vezina, you'd have to consider Mike Richter being one of the most valuable goaltenders in the league from the way he's performed, and probably Hobby Bulin. Who else? Sean
Mike
Burke?
Richter, Hobby Bulin, Patrick Waugh, unfortunately, who's not in the Olympics. Definitely have been the guy. Sean Burke, who's not in the Olympics. Right there, Malakoff. One thing that's not mentioned enough with the Rangers is their way they've added size to this team. Malakoff, 6'4". He missed all last year. Now he's one of the top plus-minus players in the NHL. Steve McKenna, 6'7". McCarthy, 6'5". They've added Barnaby, who's not that big at 6'1", but he's tough. And you've got Lindros, and you've got Ulanov, and you've got players like that. Manny Malhotra's 6'3". This is a very big team now. They can go into buildings like New Jersey and go nose to nose with those Devil defensemen. They were never able to do that the last couple of years. Much bigger, more physical stuff than they've ever had before here in New York.
Roosevelt and Kasparaitis on defense, and they play some catch. 6 3/4 minutes to go, first period. We have no score. The shots are 8-3 Rangers. And there'll be an icing touch-up by Kasparaitis. And so play once again halted with the Lindros line opposite that of Robert Lang.
Well, I'll tell you, Pittsburgh is the lowest scoring team in the first period in the NHL. They only scored the first goal 14 times this season, fewest in the NHL. So if they can get through this period tied, they'll be very, very happy. There's Eric Lindros, and we've talked about the fly line. Robert Lang's going head-to-head against him. Going to be a total free agent at the end of this year. Look at this, on pace to score 179 goals, folks. The fewest ever in the history of Pittsburgh since 1967. And that also means the strike-shortened 48-game season. They scored 181 goals that year with guys like Mario Lemieux in there. So this Pittsburgh team is not scoring goals at all for goaltending, for defense, anything. They've got to find a way to put the puck in the net.
Boy, nearly able to fight his way in was Hrdina, but just cut off at the last moment as Lindros circles now. Tried to flip one along, but it bounced down and is played back out by Mike York for Fleury, but instead Roosevelt. Roosevelt able to spirit it along, but it went off a glove and hopped to Robert Lang. Here's Lang yanking a pass that came right to Fleury, who might have asked for it. Now played by Lindros, ahead, tried for York, thrown right back in by Roosevelt, and so Richter will just coast out and stop it. The Rangers, the 6th game of their longest road trip of the year. They have lost 3 straight, but had quite a battle before losing in overtime on a power play goal to Colorado. 2 days ago. Little pass is deflected right back out again and left behind once more. Kasparaitis. And then it's Hrdina moving back in with this. Now it's Kovalev. Score! Alexei Kovalev on a 2-on-1.
Hey, Mike, I think we talked about him in the Open, didn't we? Guy that must pick it up for Pittsburgh to start winning some games. He scored on Thursday night against the Islanders. He gets a goal tonight here against the Rangers. And don't forget, he has faced Mike Richter, as I mentioned, in practice 1,000,000 times. So they know each other very, very well. Right here, Alex Kovalev wins the battle, and he goes right upstairs. Great play here. There's a turnover in the neutral zone. That's a no-no. That'll be talked about in between periods. Great give and go here. Now watch this shot, folks. That's the only place it can go. Mike Richter gives you a little bit of room. That's a world-class shooter. Good pass by Hrdina. The defenseman plays it well, Berard. He takes a pass away. It's one-on-one Kovalev against Richter, and Kovalev just makes a perfect shot up over the glove of Mike Richter. What a goal.
14th of the year, leads the team in that department, and a hook is coming up on Chris Beach. And so the Ranger power play that is empty in its last 15 tries will get a chance to even the game up on the man when our coverage of the Rangers and Pens continues. What a marvelous shot.
This is unbelievable. Mike Richter gives you a little bit. He has to. You can't cover everything. Watch where this puck goes. The only place that's open. Mike's got the glove down. He's got the bottom of the net protected with the pads. Alex says, I'll just throw it where he ain't, Mike. 1-0 Pittsburgh.
All right, the power play on the Beach hooking minor at 14:28. The Rangers in the last 4 games empty in the last 15 tries and 5th from the bottom of the league. The Penguins are in the middle of the pack when it comes to killing them off. That probably reflects the emphasis on defense and on playing more defensively that has gone team-wide since Rick Keogh took over. A bouncer in front, kicked at by Lindros, swung away by Kasparaitis and cleared down by Lacouture.
Well, I think the Rangers should be a better power play than this with the people they can put out there. Leach running the power play, maybe the best quarterback in the NHL. You've got guys now, Berard can shoot, you got Lindros with size and strength up front. York and Fleury gives you that speed. Both those guys can score goals. Fleury has scored 50 goals in the NHL. So I think down the stretch, this will become a better power play than 13%.
Johansson, Fleury, and Lindros are up front with Malakoff and Leach in back. And here's a chance for Toby Peterson. Peterson run into by Leach, and down he goes.
Not very often Leach can go head-to-head against a forward he's bigger than, so he took advantage of that right there, folks.
Tapped ahead for Fleury, lifted along off Leach's glove. And it didn't look like he was able to control that, and they ruled that he wasn't in terms of staying onside. So 4:23 to go in the first and 51 left on the kill.
Well, there's Darian Kasparaitis. He got an assist on that goal. Very underrated passer we just talked about. Very underrated defenseman. You're going to see the play right here. Kasper's in front of the net. Lindros always hangs around the front of the net. Good play there by Roosevelt. Doesn't play the puck. Kasparaitis gets it away. Let's look at the other end. As I mentioned, Leach usually is playing against guys much bigger than he is. Toby Peterson's about the same size, so Leach puts a little Rudy Poo on him right there, puts him down.
A what?
Rudy Poo smackdown. Obviously, you're not a wrestling fan, Mike. I got to work with you more to broaden your horizons a bit.
Well, the Shire brothers, I mean, are they still wrestling?
I don't even think the Shire sisters are wrestling anymore.
But they might be. Look at it now. Here's a fan on a shot by Nedved, and it's cleared back down. So Argentina Rocca, nothing?
No, those are all gone. It's always those are grandfathers of the guys going now.
Okay. I was a big fan when I was 12.
Well, I'm 42 and I'm 45 and I'm a big fan. So
I'm willing to be so. Here's Leach going back now in the last dime's worth of the power play with 3 minutes and 40 seconds left in the first.
Bad power play. It's been ugly. Never got set up. Never got a good shot. So that'll be something they'll talk about in between periods too, how to set it up and what they're looking for.
Here's Nedved. Nedved twisting it to the back. Penalty time is up. Shot by Berard. Went off a couple of sticks en route and is thrown back off by Janssen. Fresh from the bench is Tomas Klocek.
And don't forget one guy we haven't even mentioned today, a guy called Mark Messier would be out there on the first unit of the power play also, so he's missing on this unit.
A shoulder strain for Messier. He is here today, but is not in uniform. Kovalev twisting one along, and then was he ever wiped to the glass by Klocek. And that is the hallmark of Klocek's play. That's why Ron Lowe said at the trade deadline last year, virtually any team that wanted to deal with New York mentioned Klocek among the players they wanted to get.
And one other guy they always mention too is Mike York. The best thing Glenn Sayer did was not trade those two guys. 6'5" physical defenseman in Klocek and a great gutsy forward that can score and play defense in Mike York.
Kevin Stevens hit pretty soundly. Thrown to the front by Kovalev. It drifted back to Ferentz for a shot that got the glass. Now played by Kovalev. Good shot on goal, and another backhander by Peterson, who's been very impressive today.
See what Kehoe's doing now? He's double shifting Kovalev. He knows Kovalev's got some jump today, so he's getting him on the ice more.
How long does it take to tell that?
Usually right off the bat. You can tell when a player like Alex has jumped and he's fired up. So, again, coaching is getting the right guys on the ice at the right time, and Kovalev's on fire, so you play him more. Reward the guys that give you what you want. That's what coaching's all about. Reward them with ice time. That's all the coaches got that the players want. They don't want your wardrobe. They don't want anything. They make more money than you, but you control the ice time. That makes you powerful.
Lang across, and a shot by Hrdina that fluffed off the glass. Waving at that was Richter. Is on with it is Hrdina. Round in front, backhander. Oh, and that one didn't find its way in either. Great opportunity that time that came from Tom Kostopoulos. Under 100 to go. Fleury tried to finesse it through. A couple of Rangers collide. Lindros as well as Johansson. And back down now to take this is Lefebvre.
Well, Ronnie Lowe will be doing a little bit of talking in between periods. His team has not had a lot of effort. They haven't had a lot of emotion. They're trying to beat this Pittsburgh team without any effort. That doesn't work in the NHL. Pittsburgh's a struggling team. They know they got to work to win. They've outplayed the Rangers early on.
Oh, and nearly a connection between Wayne Primo and Dan Lacouture, who was at the front of the goal. Now Kovalev steps right back in. Got it over to Primo, then to Lacouture. Could not burrow his way by, and working the outside is Kovalev. Dips the shoulder around behind. Backhander save, Richter. Rebound, scrap for, and the Rangers are able to bring it back, and just that quickly, they lose it. Kovalev stashed it right back in again. The Rangers have been shotless for over 5 minutes.
Kovalev's best game in 2 months, Mike. He's all over the place tonight for Pittsburgh.
Well, speaking of productivity, let's take a look at the plus-minus leaders for Bud Light. Simone Gagne of the Flyers at 24. Chris Chelios of the Red Wings the same. And Jerome Iginla on a marvelous year at plus 23.
And the Fly line are doing great in plus-minus too. They've all got over 18 pluses. Right here you see Kostopoulos go to the front of the net. Backhand again, Richter, you see how mobile he is, how quick he is going side to side. And again, Kovalev has been awesome. It has something to do with playing against the Rangers too, folks. He always plays his best against this team. You always do want to come back and show a team that traded you that they should never have traded you. Alex has got a lot of pride, and he's showing it in his motion tonight.
Kostopoulos is waiting at the face-off, hoping that it'll come to him from Wayne Primo, one of Craig Patrick's draft picks in 1999. Of course, Mike Richter was one of Craig's draft picks in New York in '85 when Craig was in charge of things there. Working to the corner is Primo with that long reach, leaned on by Nedved. And Primo able to play it free, but off Nedved's skate. Fed back across, and it will just careen back for a little dump along its center. Delayed offside as Leach retreats from Kostopoulos is checking in the last 17. No icing on this, as back is Andrew Ferentz.
Mike, I hear you're weakening on the automatic icing. I heard you the other night. You come on my side.
Yep. Here is Lacouture. Save Richter, and a penalty coming up. And the period will come to a close, and so there will be a power play for Pittsburgh at the start of the second.
Well, this has been a great energy period for Pittsburgh. I haven't seen this much emotion out of them for a long, long time. They really deserve to be more than one goal up against the Rangers. They're going to the net. They're winning physical battles. Look how quick Lacouture looks here. This is Pittsburgh's problem. They haven't got any finishers anymore. There's the break, and there's the penalty hooking. Now they got a power play to start the second period. But great work there. They've had a ton of chances. They've outworked New York Rangers. They must continue with that work ethic in the second period, and things will abide well for Pittsburgh, Mike.
Mike Richter faced 7. And at one point, the Rangers led in shots 8-3. It ended 8-7 Rangers. Coming up, John Saunders, John Davidson, after this message and a word for our ABC stations.
Penguins leading the Rangers 1-0. John Saunders and John Davis in the NHL on ABC. Eric Lindros has missed the last 4 games because of the concussion. 7th of his career. How'd he look?
Well, not bad, John. I think in this situation where Lindros has only been able to skate twice, and that was yesterday and the day before, both times in Denver before the Rangers went to Pittsburgh. Plus, he rode the stationary bike a number of times. I think he wanted to get back into a game, get his feet wet, and I think he'll get better as the game moves along here. Remember this, though. Next Saturday, New York Rangers in Philadelphia. Lindros back in Philadelphia first time. That could be interesting.
Bobby Clark comes out of retirement.
comes Dave Schultz. Let's get him all out of there.
Eric Lindros, will hear more from him between the second and third period. Talks about the concussion and coming back feeling safe with that. Meanwhile, the Capitals and the Bruins this afternoon. Two great goaltenders in this one and two great friends in Ole Kolzig and Byron Defoe. But doesn't look like the goaltending is there today. It's 3-2 after one. Joe Thornton, nice redirect here.
Boynton wrist shot from the point, knocked out of the air by the red-hot Joe Thornton. However, Washington forced the issue. A couple of bad passes. Chris Simon's there. A little lucky. It deflected off the Bruin player. Just like that, it was tied at 1. Thornton wins faceoffs. Glenn Murray shoots the puck. It's in the net. Thornton now a goal plus an assist. And Boston starting to roll. How about this pass across? Joe Thornton knocks the puck down, banks it in. He is hot. His line is hot. The Caps have the best power play in the game, in my opinion. That got him back in this one with a power play goal.
A lot of names on the Canadian Olympic team, but Joe Thornton, not one of them.
Well, if somebody's injured and can't play for Team Canada come the Olympic time, I think Joe Thornton will be the first guy mentioned.
They won't miss a step either. Avalanche and the Red Wings, two of the best in the game. There's a future Hall of Famer in Brett Hall. Milan Hajduk with the slap shot. Everyone crashed the net.
Well, Joe Sakic goes to the net, draws people. Skula, the fourth man on the rush. He's a defenseman. With the retirement again of Ray Bourque, it opens up ice time for Pipa. Skula's a recipient. He's starting to grow with the game. He's a good young defenseman who can score. We just saw it.
Detroit's won 5 straight at home, but they're down 1-0. Stars in the Blues. Mike Modano just manufactures a goal here. Goes behind the net, picks up the loose puck, and banks it in. His 19th of the year. But this one wouldn't belong to Dallas. It would belong to Corey Stillman of the Blues.
Yeah, Stillman and the Blues really got the game going, as is Chris Pronger. Pronger right now really starting to get his game back to the standards we see, especially with a pass like that. He hits Stillman. Stillman gets 3 goals. He had 6. He's now got 9. Pronger starts to play as good as he can. Stillman starts to add some offense, and the Blues start to roll.
Third career hat trick for Stillman, and it ties a career high as he had 4 points. And right now, St. Louis has won 4 of the last 5. Doug Weight also with 4 assists. What a huge pickup he has been. Right now, a 1-0 lead. The Pittsburgh Penguins' problem scoring goals, so they have to shut out the Rangers practically the rest of the way.
Back here in Pittsburgh, the triple threat, Darius Kasparaitis, the hittingest defenseman in the league. First shift, he stepped into Eric Lindros. Then as the Penguins took over, beautiful pass to Jan Hrdina, on to Alexei Kovalev. See ya. The best New York Rangers chance, it required some good defense, and Darius was there to give it. He and his guys are ahead 1-0. Back with a second in a moment.
The NHL on ABC, brought to you by Dodge. You can take life as it comes, or you can grab life by the horns. Dodge.
Feeling good?
Better, yeah. One of the better slides in the course of the first period.
Look at
What, are you in bad form, Barry?
It's one. You have to dive for it.
Penguins ahead in this 1-0.
As Mario tells his guys, they don't give away prizes.
Hey, that's right. Mario Lemieux has joined us here before the start of the second period. Have to be pretty pleased with the way the team played in the first.
Yeah, we played pretty well, especially Kovalev had a great period, had the puck pretty much the whole period and making some good plays. And the team is bouncing back, it looks like, and that's always encouraging.
He looked pretty motivated, didn't he?
Well, every time we play the Rangers,
that's what we mentioned.
he's at the top of his game.
Got to get some more guys traded to different teams around there to get them playing.
That's right.
Mary, what's your day like? I always thought you and Gretsch, who own teams and stuff, right? Do you take time to be an owner, like a small period of time, and a player the rest of the day? Like, and when you're hurt, are you a player now getting ready, or you take a couple hours to talk to Craig Patrick about trades and stuff?
I don't talk to Craig too much about the trades. He's been doing a pretty good job for the last 12 years, so I leave him alone pretty much.
If it ain't broke, don't fix it.
Yeah, right now I'm just trying to get back on the ice. I've been working out over the past week to 10 days and skating every day, and I'm feeling good. So hopefully I can get my conditioning back next few days and get back on the ice and play.
What's the status of the hip now? Is it is one of those long-term things that you had to battle through, or I know?
No, it's just an injury that occurred early at training camp this year and just didn't get any better, and we had to go in there and fix it, and now it's fine. So it's just a matter of getting my conditioning back, and hopefully everything's behind me now.
Seems strange to watch a power play that doesn't have you out on it. Seems strange to you to
I'll be back
here?
there soon, hopefully.
Well, we're looking forward to that, that's for sure.
Well, Mario, whenever we got you, we got to show you some of the goals you scored, because you've scored so many beautiful ones. But Ray Bork always
Sorry,
says
Ray.
he hates that. And we always
I
show that goal.
apologize.
We showed it in the playoffs last year. He says, I hate that. That goal's always in there.
How excited are you about coming back on Tuesday? I know
Well,
the fans
hopefully
are,
I can
'cause they've
get back
started-
on Tuesday. I'm going to decide probably after I skate with the team on Monday. But if it's not Tuesday, it's going to be Saturday. But I'm really excited to come back and having a chance to play again and make a run for the playoffs. And once you get in there, anything can happen. So I'm looking forward to being back.
Well, the marketing department says that they've sold a lot of tickets for Tuesday. That's helped a lot.
That's all.
I'm waiting for the bobblehead dolls. That'll be a collector's item right there. They couldn't keep Mike Pekkas in the place Thursday night, so I think Mario's will be tough to get.
There's been some talk about restraining fouls and all of that, and I know that's an old subject with you, but have you noticed it being any different this year?
Could always be better, obviously. Try to open up the game a little bit more. But I think the league has made a lot of progress over the last couple of years, and it's certainly a lot better than it was 2 or 3 years ago.
First thing, Mario, your buddy Michael Jordan scored 30,000 points last night. Third player, I think, in
That's
the
a lot of
NBA
points,
to score. Did you give him a call today?
Not today, but I'm going to give him a call the next couple of days. He's playing great the last 2 weeks and really picked up his game and starting to feel a lot more comfortable. So it always takes a while when you're off for 3 years.
You scored the first night. Remember your first night against Toronto. You were pretty awesome.
Yeah, that was a great night.
One of the things that means a lot to you, being a cancer survivor, and the Olympics, of course, are coming up. Talk a little about your torch run here.
Yeah, that was great.
Did they make you wear that hat?
Yeah, they did. No, actually, it was pretty cold that day, but just to be there with Ashley Barrasso,
Tom's daughter,
that was a great moment for both of us. Both have beaten cancer and doing well, so it was a very, very special moment to run with that torch. Very special.
You've accomplished everything in hockey. Won the Stanley Cup, scoring races, etc. Is the Olympics something that is going to mean a ton to you?
Absolutely. It's going to be right up there with the Stanley Cup. If we win the gold medal for Canada, it's going to be right up there with 2 Stanley Cups.
Are you being more careful coming back from injury because of that? You want to make sure that is something that you don't miss?
Yeah, I think so. I think I'm a little bit more patient now than I used to in the past. So, and the reason is the Olympics. Obviously, I want to be there and try to help Team Canada to win a gold medal. So hopefully I can come back next week and be at the top of my game by February.
Well, in watching the recent couple of games, I've got a question about breakaways. You're one of the best penalty shot men in the business. Can you help Christoph Oliva at all with some of these breakaways?
He's hopeless.
I know. Thursday night he had a breakaway too against the Islanders and he missed it. He's turning into an assist man though now. He's not being unselfish.
That's right. He's a disher.
Mary, you got some tough choices here in Pittsburgh being an owner. This is more of an owner question. Robert Lang, Darius Kasparaitis, 2 of your best players. In the game today, you've got free agency. These 2 guys are going to be a big decision come the end of the
Yeah, it's always tough for us here in Pittsburgh. It's difficult to keep our top players because of the market that we're in. But we're going to do everything we can to keep Darius, obviously, and Robert. I think wants to stay here, so hopefully Craig can start talking to these guys and keep him here in Pittsburgh.
Do you favor a salary cap?
Well,
now you're getting your owner's hat on
that's
against
right.
your
No,
player's
I
hat.
can't do that. Right now I'm a player,
Mike.
so
okay.
That's below the belt, that question, Mike. Do you think something has to be
actually,
done?
as an owner, I'm not allowed to talk about salary caps and all that stuff. So.
And you can't talk about trades either because you're an owner. Man, you got every built-in excuse in the world now. You've got 4 or 5 hats on.
Pirates and Steelers have new facilities. What's on the horizon here?
Well, we've been working very hard over the last couple years to get a new facility here in Pittsburgh. We certainly feel that...
you got the land, right?
Yeah, we bought the land across the street, and hopefully that's going to be a site that we'll be looking at over the next few weeks and hopefully have a deal with the city and the county.
Mario, this team of yours, and I saw them play Thursday night, is it underachieving? Is you coming back, is that going to be enough to spur them and become the team that they can become?
Yeah, I think so. I think the team just needs a little bit of confidence right now. We've been struggling quite a bit over the last 3 weeks, and you can see the guys are playing scared out there and afraid to make mistakes. So you just
Especially
can't
on the
play.
power play.
Yeah, you can't play that way. You just got to go out there and have some fun and not being afraid to make mistakes.
Now, is it going to be tough for you in the Olympics with Stevie Latin being the trainer for the Americans?
That's going to be kind of strange.
He knows every trick you got. You're going to send your skates over to him to get sharpened?
That's right.
The world's
He's
greatest
the best.
trainer. The world's greatest trainer, Stevie Latin.
Stevie's the best.
I said to him the other day, I hope you haven't.
Whoa!
Pretty good hit. Thrown in front and on the bounce back for a drive by David Karpa that stopped, and then Hedberg able to fight another one off. Rangers were able to kill off the power play very early, and shot ricocheted off Wayne Primo.
Now, I heard Nike, Mario, was making special skates for you, special color with your name embroidered in it, special sticks.
Yeah, I just got them actually 2 weeks ago, and they look pretty sharp.
Are they a new model, a completely new model?
No, it's just the colors that are changed, and we get the gold swish on there, and some red in the back, so they look pretty sharp, and I'll be wearing them at the Olympics.
Is this as nerve-wracking as it was when you were sitting down in the owner's box for 3.5 years, part of the time that you were the owner and part of the time watching at home?
Yeah, it's always tougher to watch. When you're down there, really you're in control of the situation pretty much all the time. So to be up here and not to be a part of it is more difficult for me.
I know you do a lot of work still with cancer organizations in the area, and a lot of attention came to you. The marvelous way that you were able to handle all of that and all of that difficulty and the question about your future, I think that was an inspiration to a lot of people that had never seen hockey before.
Well, that's one thing that I like to do, obviously, is to try to help other people with cancer to really look to the future and not so much to the present. And I'm the perfect example of a guy who beat cancer and came back and played the game. And,
at a very high level.
Yeah,
you just didn't come back.
And really living a normal life now. So hopefully I can inspire a few people to keep fighting and beat terrible disease.
Well, your goaltender has been sparkling in this contest, especially in the early start of it. It was a tremendous find for you to get Johan Hedberg at such a late age in his career.
Absolutely. He's been playing great all year. Although the team's been struggling in front of him, he's been there every night for us.
Had a chance to watch him make a strong stop a moment ago on Dvorak.
Mary, one of the problems with your team is that the young guys that you guys were counting on this year, none of them have quite become the players yet you hope. Kraft and Beach is here, but Kraft is in the minors. The two young guys you got in the trade. Are you still feeling those guys will become Pittsburgh Penguins shortly?
Absolutely. A guy like Beach, he's going to be a great player in this league. He's only 20 years old, and you can see he's got a lot of skills. So once you give him a year or two, he gets stronger and faster. He's going to be a great player in this league, and Kraft is the same way. Sometimes it takes a couple years, 2 or 3 years, for these young guys to get the confidence and to get stronger on their skates. It's a different game from the junior days, and sometimes it takes a couple years for these guys to flourish. But they certainly have a lot of talent. We have some good young prospects also at Wilkes-Barre, some good young defensemen, 20, 21 years old, and I think our team's going to be pretty good in a couple of years.
Do you enjoy working with those guys?
Absolutely. It's kind of fun
Take
to
them out there and show them a few things.
Yeah, it's fun to work with guys like Kraft and Beach, two great kids, and Peterson, who told me he watched the Canada Cup in '87 as a young boy.
Oh, that's gotta hurt.
That hurt a little bit.
Oh, that's not right.
Another penalty coming up to the Penguins, so this will be a 5-on-3.
A little high sticking there.
As Kasparaitis touches up. Well, I saw in the transactions back in September you were actually sent to Wilkes-Barre for a game. Now,
I was, yeah. That was very difficult to accept, but I got back with the big club.
You know how the normal guys feel to go sent down 5 or 6 times like I was.
Sticking. All set?
Let's take a look at it. Just got to be lucky it wasn't Kasparaitis. That's usually Kasparaitis' situation right there. Poor Darius is always in the middle of stuff. It's never the right call. I tell you, I hope you guys do sign him because this guy is. He's what Pittsburgh is all about. He's a hard-working, meat and potatoes guy.
He's got a big heart. He plays hard every night for us, and it'd be tough to lose him.
I was bugging him. He's close to making the All-Star team, so I'm going to start lobbying to get this guy in the All-Star team. Enough fancy guys there. Let's get some guys like Darius there.
Well, you did play in a game for Wilkes-Barre, right? And wore their uniform for one game, kind of
I
as a
did.
tribute
I did.
to them?
Yeah, I did. And we auctioned off the jersey for the 9/11 fund. So
Lindros and Leach at the back. Pretty interesting.
Mario, what's the situation with Marty Straka?
Marty's doing very well. He's been working out the last couple of weeks, and hopefully he can come back skating at the end of the month, and probably by March 1st he should be ready to go. So we certainly need him. He's a big part of our team. He's a great
You could have him
leader.
for a month. You could have him for the last month or so.
Right.
Well, Mario will tell you 5-on-3 changes the game one way or the other. The team that kills it has a ton of emotion, or the team that gets scored on is down a little bit. So
that would be a big kill here. Now it's a 5-on-2.
Yeah. Falcon and no stick, and a save by Hedberg.
Those great power plays of yours, I think, are arguably the best power plays that have ever been in the NHL. Did you guys practice them a lot when you had Francis and Tocchet?
Yeah, we did. Pretty much every practice at the end, we used to throw the puck around for 5-10 minutes.
So you guys are good for a reason.
Absolutely. You have to know what the other guys are doing on the ice and where they're going to be in certain situations, and that's why we were so good. But we knew exactly what to do under pressure. And I think we got to go back to that with our team right now, especially with a lot of different personnel on the power play. We have to practice that.
The Rangers are in the same boat because their power play is really only 13%, so it's not much better than Pittsburgh's, and theirs.
Well, teams are so good now defensively,
killers,
and the coaching is a lot better than it used to be in the past. So.
Yeah, this will be a huge kill right here, boy. That's an energy giver right there.
Good save by Hedberg on Nedved. A hurried shot by Lindros. Boy, the crowd going nuts, and another stop by Hedberg.
Moose.
Nedved at the side of the net. You've been good luck for them up here. We sure appreciate your time.
All right, guys.
Mario,
take care.
Penalty box is finally empty, but it wasn't without some thrills. 17 shots for the Rangers overall, and Hedberg had some big stops to make, and did he ever, to preserve the lead that his team has by a count of 1-0. I had something similar once.
Yeah, people don't realize, so that's not wigs, folks. That's their natural hair. That's how you look in Pittsburgh during the winter.
Wasn't mine either. But that was the early
I would love to see you with
you don't need that anymore.
Yes, I'd like to see your college picture, Mike Emmerich.
Well, you know, it looked like a melted 33 and a third RPM
man,
record.
I would love to see that.
Well, Johan Hedberg has been magnificent, especially against that 5-on-3. So an emotional lift for the Penguins.
Huge. And we talked about they need a goaltender to steal a win for them.
Oh, here's a steal, too, and a feed in front, and a weak toss at the very end. Winds up being blocked aside, as right at the side of the net was Jeff Toms on a neat feed from Johansson and Samuelsson. Trying to fight his way through is Wayne Primo. Oh, man! With aggression, he went after Klocek, and a penalty will be coming up. We'll get that call. But first, let's go back to the studio and John.
Colorado with a 1-0 lead over Detroit, but the Red Wings tie this one up. Pavel Datsyuk from just inside the faceoff circle.
Beautiful wrist shot inside on the short side past Abisher. Remember, the goaltender Patrick not playing because of the flu. Underneath the arm, off the body.
Slipped through. 1-1 to score there, guys.
22 Rangers, minor for roughing.
Klocek to the box.
Well, this penalty was created because of Primo's aggressiveness. Primo dumps the puck in here, goes off his skate. He continues. Now, this is what this penalty kill for Pittsburgh did. It created emotion. It created adrenaline. Primo went in there, finished his check, and Klocek didn't like it. Klocek took a retaliation penalty. We talked about a goaltender stealing the game right here. Toms is tied up pretty good by Laukin and still gets a shot away. That is called a toe save, folks, in hockey, because the toe makes a save. Great extension by Hedberg. Looked a little bit like Mike Richter on that save.
Two strong net-minding efforts here this afternoon. That's why the score is low. The shots are 19-9 Rangers. 11-2 in this period. Here's Laukkanen faking the drive and now able to finesse it back onto Lang. Then Laukkanen again. At the front of the net is Lockateur. A little bit of a battle going on there. Some jamming now involving Hrdina too. Lang to the back. Drive by Laukkanen. Juggled but held by Richter. Let's hear from Dave Strader.
All right, Mike, thanks very much. You guys were talking in the first period about this being Game 6 of the longest road trip of the New York Rangers. Talking with head coach Ron Lowe during the intermission, the thing that concerned him most, Barry, was the mental aspect of this being such a long road trip. He said physically we were fine. We were running around and doing a lot of things, but he said I wasn't happy with the way we were trying to make too much happen. He said I'm worried about our decision-making more, and that's something that happens in the NHL when you're on the road for as long as the Rangers have been on the road.
Well, it's always been my contention that hockey is much more of a mental game than a physical game. All the athletes are big and strong and can skate and shoot. But who's ever toughest mentally? Who can play 6 games in a row at a very high level and be ready to play every night and practice hard and take care of yourself? That's what being a mental, that's why mentally being so important, being a tough athlete in the NHL.
Laukin and a shot off of Richter, scrapped for and cleared by Nedved.
One shot and out. That's great coverage by the New York Rangers. They're getting a shot from the point, but no traffic in front. They're keeping them to the outsides. Richter seeing the puck, and if there is a rebound, it's cleared right down the ice. Great work by the Rangers.
It is hard to go on a long trip and take the last one, especially when you're coming from west to east, and a collision involving Lacouture and Lang. Lang slow to get up. Leach sets it up, and a direct score! What a shot by Radek Dvorak. A shorthanded goal, and it's tied.
Mike, you just saw the Pittsburgh last month in a microcosm of that play. They give up their 8th shorthanded goal against in the NHL. That's the most 8 goals against. They gave up Thursday night against the New York Islanders also. Robert Lang, complete control of the puck on the power play. Everything looked fine. Everything looked like they were in control. Robert comes in. Lacouture runs into Lang, hurts both of them. And now it's 2-on-2. Great play by Leach. And a perfect shot right along the ice at the post. If it weren't for bad luck, we'd have no luck at all, right, Robert? Oh, man. They kill off the 5-on-3 and they give up a goal like that. That's tough luck.
Hurts 2 ways, not only the collision, but then the goal that results from it. So still the Penguins have a power play.
I'm not sure that's a good thing with the Pittsburgh power play. They've given up 2 shorthanded goals the last 2 games and only scored 1 power play goal. So take the yardage.
Richer hands it to the back to Janssen. Fakes and then moves in and drives one that's answered by Richter. Janssen again. Sent it behind Berard, couldn't reach it. Randy Robitaille could. Able to turn it back on for Beach. Wrapped up and spun, and it's handed to the back now for Janssen. Gives it back across and it's quickly directed on to Beach again. Roosevelt is set, but Beach drives and a save made by Richter. Well, Thursday night, America's top skaters meet in Los Angeles for the National Championship. And at stake, a chance to represent the United States in Salt Lake City. The State Farm U.S. Figure Skating Championships with coverage beginning Thursday, 8 Eastern and Pacific on ABC.
Well, this is happening on the ice, but it certainly isn't figure skating. Great hit by Lacouture. If they were winning, that'd be funny on the bench. But it isn't when you're losing and your team is struggling. Right there, Lang goes right to the bench. He sees the goal goes in. Frustration mounts. But again, a little bit later, you saw why the Pittsburgh power play struggling. No one's in front of the net. That shot comes from the point. Richter sees the puck right from the shot, right to his glove. NHL goaltender is going to stop that 100 times out of 100.
Here comes Lang in the last 10. But it's broken down, and it's the Rangers who are picked up by this. Scoring a shorthanded goal and killing off the minor penalty of aggressiveness for roughing on Klochek.
Well, Mike, you're exactly right. You see the difference in the emotion now. Rangers are jumping. The Rangers are hunting the puck. Rangers are winning the physical battles. Pittsburgh's heads are down. They're dejected. Completely changed the atmosphere in this building.
Pittsburgh at their bench, heads virtually straight ahead or slooped. And at the Ranger bench, the heads turning because they're talking. Well, they were when I started to mention it. Yeah, there they are. They're talking and they're picked up by it, so we'll see what develops next. It's amazing the ebb and flow in a game, and I know you as a coach have said that, where one team is up, another down, and then it reverses.
And nothing changes it like a shorthanded goal, Mike, because you got the power play. They're looking at going ahead 2-0. Everything's going their way. They just killed off the 5-on-3. Bang, that shorthanded goal. Now it's 1-1. Rangers got all the momentum. Pittsburgh's a struggling team. They're not really believing in themselves, like Mario said. There's not a lot of confidence out there, and you just shot yourself in the foot.
Well, here's Lindros on the draw, sparring with Lang, puck to the back and kept alive there by Malakoff, through one that went off a leg and wide. Kovalev wanted to outlet. That didn't have its customary steam, and it wound up being an offside call. Dvorak from Leach, 9th of the year for him. First shorthanded goal of the season, and it's tied this game up.
Well, there's a shot, a little give and go. Leach dropped the puck. That made the goaltender change where he was going, and it found just the inside of the post. Let's look at the Southwest Airline goal cam, see what Hedberg sees. Got a piece of it with that right pad, but couldn't stop it. Goes into the net.
You ever known guys that play in this league that also run sporting goods stores on the side?
About 100 of them.
Here's Kovalev moving in. Centered one in front. Oh, and Richter blocked it. Lang didn't get all he wanted, and the battle continues. Kovalev down to the ice. Up with it is Lang. He's got a man in front. Hrdina couldn't get the shot away, and it's cleared back out to center.
Well, that's definitely the best those three guys have played in this game. The best chances. There was two great chances. Kovalev's the key, though. The Rangers can't handle him one-on-one.
Hrdina menaced Mike York. Puck dealt back along near Hrdina, but rescued by Malakoff. Pushed ahead, and Eric Lindros moves on. Lindros with a wrist shot that went off of Hedberg. Lindros carried off by Rosabal, and it's banged back out as far as center, where Theo Fleury curls with it. Fleury protects pretty well and went down. It's blocked and then started ahead by Lang. He goes down, and Kovalev brings it on. Crosses, drops it on back for Lang. And Lang has to retrieve. It came back over near Kovalev again, but is in rather a scrambly shift of hockey. He turned back for the Ranger possession, and Dave Karpa.
Alex had to shoot that puck when he walked into the middle of the rink. He was in much better position to shoot than Robert Lang. If Alex has a weakness, is he just doesn't like to shoot enough. He's got a rocket for a shot. He should shoot every time he gets inside that blue line.
Nubbed on by Lang and grabbed by Dave Karpa. And a puck that just bounced away from everybody. Now it's brought back by Peter Nedved. Nedved has Dvorak, but the shot went off the leg of Malakar. Aaron stands up Dvorak. The battle for possession, and the puck reached by Nedved. Crafty move by him, but his pass came on to Lacouture. 8 1/4 minutes to go in the second, and we're tied at 1. Dvorak with a shorthanded goal in the second. Alexei Kovalev, an even strength goal for Pittsburgh in the first.
And what both these teams are saying on the bench, Mike, is it's a half a game now. We got 30 minutes. We got to win 30 minutes, and we come away with 2 points.
Let's return to our studios, John and John.
The Bruins and the Capitals in a very high-scoring affair. Joe Thornton is going to come in late on this one, JD, and get the goal.
Well, when you're hot, the puck will find you. And look at that, right through the legs. Only the goalie having a tough time here. Billy Guerin will move in on the short side. He's able to score. He gets his 22nd. Boston leads it by a couple.
Guerin, 7 goals in his last 6 games.
Coming up after period 2, Dodge Intermission Report. John Saunders, John Davidson, Avs Red Wings, Capitals Bruins, and Eric Lindros speaks with John Davidson. All of that at the end of this period, just under 8 minutes to go in it. Sylvain Lefebvre, the veteran defenseman, lays it ahead, and it's spiked on, but that one went away from Samuelson and is brought back out now by Robitaille. Gets it back from Richer, shoots one that's deflected up into the seats. You know, the Rangers have a guy named Brad Smith, who's a very prominent American League scorer. The same for Robitaille, really. What is the difference between the two leagues?
I coached in both leagues. Guys who can score in the American League sometimes just are too small. They're a step slow, not quite as strong, not quite as smart. They're quick at the American League level, mentally and physically, not at the NHL level. It's a huge jump from the American League size-wise, toughness-wise, everything to the NHL. And a lot of guys just can't make that leap.
Third man on our crew today, Dave Strader, has come from the American League as well as a broadcaster to the NHL, and then, of course, very busy schedule working for ESPN. Started with the Adirondack Red Wings. One of the Glens Falls, New York.
Great powerhouse in the American League. 4 championships, 4 Calder Cups in the American League in 20 years, the Adirondack Red Wings.
Bill Dineen, of course, one of the longtime guys here. His son works as an assistant for the New York Rangers, Jerry.
Randy McKay played there. Keith Primo played there. Mike Sillinger played there.
Richer with a hard drive, and Richter will hold on. What about that Adirondack guy? Dave Strader to talk about Wayne Wood, the goaltender. No.
Oh, that's right, Mike. You know what? That would be a comeback story indeed. And there is no official Comeback Player of the Year award in the National Hockey League. But if there were, the New York Rangers would have no fewer than 5 candidates. Of course, we can start with Eric Lindros. We all know he's trying to come back from his 7th concussion. Everybody's wondering whether it's smart for this guy to play because the next one could be his last one. Then you go to Mike Richter. He is playing on 2 surgically repaired ACLs, the most athletic and acrobatic goaltender in the National Hockey League. But the list doesn't stop there. Vladimir Malakoff with major knee surgery, missed all of last year. Theo Fleury going through the league's substance abuse program, missed most of last season. But perhaps the most courageous is Brian Berard, who had 6 surgeries on that eye that everyone thought was a career-ending injury. And he has that lens that gives him 2400 vision in that eye, which is the league minimum. And he continues to play at a very elite level. One other note on all those guys except for Berard, they are going to the Olympics for their respective countries.
Remarkable and tremendous achievement. We talked about this very same thing with Mario Lemieux. I'm sure there are a lot of stories outside of athletics that we leave behind that are similar to those. People having maladies that battle back from them. You can hear them every day at hospitals, which is very heartening, but these are the guys representing hockey and the Rangers that have done that.
And Ronnie Lowe says Berard is playing great. He's getting better all the time. He says he hasn't seen an instant all year long where the eye was a problem, where he could see that it caused him some problem on the ice where he didn't see the puck properly.
Roosevelt connects across for Ferentz, ahead for Lacouture, taps it, but it was on the other side of the checkered red line, so there'll be an icing here. Well, the Olympics take place in Salt Lake, and the NHL takes some time off for that. Who are some of the guys who are going to be going for these two teams, the Rangers and Penguins? Well, there is an Iron Six collection of teams, and these are the guys headed there. Fleury and
what a group
Lindros.
that is. Kasparaitis, Russia is going to be strong, Mike. No one's talking about them winning a gold medal. The Swedes are always strong. Sundin, Forsberg, everyone thinks they're going to come back and play in the Olympics. Any team with Leach and Richter on it has a chance of winning. Mike York, all he's doing is he's a top-scoring United States-born player in the NHL today. Canada's got the big E right there. Detroit Red Wings, Mike, have 10 players off their team going to the Olympics. Unbelievable. No wonder they're the odds-on favorite to win the Stanley Cup.
And they have a ton of players going to the All-Star game, which will take place in Los Angeles very early in February. The second is the day of the game. Pat Quinn and Robbie Fatorik will be head coach and assistant of the North American team. Scotty Bowman and Brian Sutter of Chicago, the head coach and assistant of the World team.
Well, Pittsburgh needs to kill another penalty here. It's late in the period. They got to get some more emotion, and a penalty-killing job against the Rangers will do it.
Roughing on Lacouture at 13:37. So here comes Brian Leach. Lang out to try and stop him. Pass goes back near Hedberg, who's out of his net to wing it across the glass and get some help to clear it to the point. A good stop by Leach. Leach flipped one that went away from Theo Fleury. Walled to the boards and glass was Lindros, and the puck skipped on back to Leach again. Opposite side to Vladimir Malakoff. Malakoff cruises and hands it right back to Leach again. Lindros and Fleury at the front of the net. Leach a drive, and it's held by Hedberg, and play again is stopped. Well, the NHL on ABC continues next Saturday with more exciting regional action. Eric Lindros and the Rangers will be in Philadelphia for the first time to meet the Flyers. Stars and Red Wings, Blues and Penguins coming up. The start time will be 1 Eastern, 10 a.m. Pacific. Check your local listings for the game in your area.
I like this power play much better for the Rangers. On the 5-on-3, they had Eric Lindros on the point with Brian Leach. Why be 6'5", 240 pounds to play the point? Get him in front of the net in those traffic areas. How's Hedberg going to see that puck coming through those legs? Now on the 5-on-4, you put the big E in front of the net to get loose pucks, create rebound chances, and to score on rebound chances. You can't move that guy. It's impossible.
This is Primo trying to win from him and can't. It's right back to Leach. Then on to Fleury. Then Leach. Lindros dealing with Ferentz at the front of the net. Lindros the shot, and it went wide. He pulled away and took the pass from Malakoff. Malakoff again, handing it on to Leach. Some battling at the front. Ferentz and Lindros again. Drive, and that one kicked aside by Peterson. Popped on back to Leach. Steps away. Fires one that's deflected off his shoulder in front and picked up by Michael York behind. York hands it back across Fleury to Leach, and a shot was wide. 45 to go on the power play for the Rangers as Malakoff works it on to York again. Held off by Ferentz, who released to get back to the front of the net. Rejoin his responsibility. He moves right in and battles there. Fleury trying to get it to Lindros, and does. Lindros yanked it along to York again. Malakoff at the back. The last 25, and a shot blocked in front. Loose puck is scooped away. Peterson trying to lift it along, took the heavy hit from Malakoff, and it's kept by Leach. Races right back in. Leach curling around behind to York, a shot, off of Hedberg and popped wide. Now it's Malakoff again in the last 5 seconds of the mandatory. Back to Malakoff. Shoots one, shrugged away calmly by Hedberg. Penalty time is up. Out of the box is Lacouture. Puck thrown back around again, and it comes near Lindros. Flicked one in front, but plenty of Penguins there as the Rangers were changing. And it's brought back ahead by Lacouture. Trying to step his way by Lefebvre. Lacouture taken to the wall. Lefebvre and Berard, the defense tandem out for the Rangers as the clock winks down to the final 4 minutes here in the second period.
How can that power play be 13% the way they moved it around in the shots they got?
They were quality. Maybe they're running into good goaltending.
Jacques Plante can't play every night.
Here's Kovalev. Full strength action. Kovalev wheeling around behind. Threw one that went through Robert Lang and is brought back out again by Nedved. Good pass ahead to Dvorak. Cut off by the defense. There'll be a penalty coming up. 3:35 to go in the second, 1-1.
Well, why is this game 1-0? I think it has a lot to do with the goaltenders at both ends of the net. Mike Richter at one end getting the job done. The Moose Hedberg at the other end of the rink getting the job done.
Well, Alexei Kovalev gets a slashing minor with 3:35 to go.
Well, Pitt's trying to give the game to the New York Rangers. They just killed penalties unbelievable. The Rangers were in the zone all 2 minutes. And right here, Alex comes across, hits the gloves, folks. When you hit the gloves in that situation, you're going to get called most of the time. Referees got him, and the best player on the ice tonight for the Pittsburgh Penguins is now in the penalty box for 2 minutes.
Nedved on the faceoff. Able to shovel it on back to Malakoff. Nedved once again. Dealt it in deep. Johansson, but then away.
You just can't keep giving the Rangers power play. Yeah, it's only 13%, but that last power play was awesome. Now you're going to give Lindros and those guys a rest to come out and give you another 2 minutes to put this game away. Can't take penalties.
Here's Dvorak. Braddock looking over the traffic out in front. Penguins getting that customary four-man defensive box, leaving it as Lacouture, taking it as Melakar. Lacouture got it further, but not out. Malakoff kept it alive. Dvorak once more. Dealt it in deep this time. Fed back around by Nedved. It came back for a shot that was well wide from Malakoff. Might have been trying to combine for a deflection there, but it's Nedved working the outside over to Dvorak again. Johansson inside the box. Pretty good work by Melakar. And the puck popped over to Lacouture. Halfway through the kill, he sends it back down.
If you're a young defenseman, watch how Leach plays in the power play. He's very aggressive. He attacks the net, but he's also conservative. He never puts himself in a chance to give up a shorthanded goal game. I think he's the best at running a power play in the NHL.
York to Fleury, but Kasperitis. Twisted one that is reached by Toby Peterson, and Peterson just shoves it back down. For the last 35.
Pittsburgh's killing penalties great. They're not giving up anything from the center of the ice. The front of the net's well protected. The big boys are out now, though. Lindros, Fleury, and York.
Off of Leach, but he recovered to nub it back in. Hedberg comes way out of his goal. Cleanly over the glass. And so it'll be another 5-on-3. Well, tonight on ESPN, the PGA in prime time from Hawaii. The Mercedes Championship's third round. The coverage begins at 7:30 Eastern, 4:30 Pacific. Tiger Woods looking to defend his title. 7 strokes off the lead entering today.
I guess the Moose felt that he needed some more shots. When a goaltender plays the puck here, folks, in this situation, he shoots it and it goes over the glass without touching anything. That is a 2-minute minor delay of game. If he shoots it near the penalty box and it goes in the penalty box, it's not a penalty, but right in that situation, it goes over the glass. Now it's 5-on-3 again for 22 seconds. Bad penalty at this time of game.
If a defenseman does it, rarely is anything called. Forward, the same.
And I would like to see that called more. I think when you're killing a penalty and you just get it or something and throw it into the stands, Mike, I would like to see that called a little bit more.
Toby Peterson serves the minor. The second 5-on-3 for the Rangers in this period.
Great win of the draw there by the Pittsburgh Senators. Great job, Toby Peterson. Big draw. Oh, I'm sorry, it's Robert Lang.
Oh, you coached him well. Puck kept now by Leach. Leach drive, and that shouldered away by Hedberg. Lies down, and a snow angel is able to press it to the glass, and so play stopped.
Okay, Robert did it once. He's got 5 seconds left. Now, if the Rangers win it, they got about 7 seconds to get a good scoring chance on the 2-minute advantage. If Robert Lang wins the draw clean again, and they can shoot it down, then it becomes a 1-man advantage, so that's huge. See if Robert can do it again. Again, just traffic in front. Hedberg's trying to find the puck. right there, Lindros should be in front of the net rather than on the side. Hedberg saw the puck too well, and he was able to control the rebound.
Hedberg with that goaltender store. I was asking you earlier about stores. He has one in Flen, Sweden. It's called the Johan Hedberg Goalie Store. Made a good case for it this period. Drive. He blocked that one. Loose puck. Scrapped for and put on the outside of the goal by York. Picked up by Lang. Dumped on ahead. And here comes Kovalev. One-on-one with Berard. Kovalev tried to cross. Nice play by Berard. Kovalev steps by. Gets help from Darius Kasparaitis, who moves in deep.
I hope Johan didn't hire a marketing firm to pick the name of his store.
No, I think he thought that one up. Here's Fleury bringing it ahead. Fleury flipped one on across. Here's Leach cruising on in. And sprawling was Kasparaitis. Leach could not get the puck for a good shot on net, and it careened into Hedberg.
Well, we're seeing some great offensive plays at both ends of the rink. Kovalev on Berard there. Threw it through his legs, went out the other side. Kasparaitis at this end does a great play on Leach. Now watch this. This is called a saucer pass, folks. You throw it over people's sticks and it lands flat on the other side. Kasparaitis makes a great defensive play there on Brian Leach. There's a saucer pass, it lands flat on Leach's stick. You got to be good to do that. Kasparaitis goes down, the puck goes under him, but by then he had some support coming back, taking Leach out of the play.
There'll be 3 seconds of carryover time into the third period on this power play, and with a center ice faceoff, that would be meaningless. So another big faceoff now for Pittsburgh, as well as for the Rangers in this 1-all tie. And it's won stiffly by Nedved, just away from where his man was positioned. Malakoff drops it over for Leach. Pass deflected, but it came on across to Johansson. Racing in as Dvorak fires, and a save made by Hedberg.
Dvorak playing his best hockey of the season for the New York Rangers, getting more ice time. Why? Because he's playing better. Players sometimes can't realize that. They come in and they tell the coach they want to play more. Coaches say, well, play better, I'll play you more. They think it goes the other way around. He's playing better, he's playing more. Great transition, right on his forehand. He's a great skater. Good quick shot here, but look at the angle. There's nothing to shoot at. Hedberg plays it perfectly. And again, Hedberg had good support by the two Pittsburgh defensemen.
On this tie-up, again, it is Primo who prevails for Pittsburgh, and it's cleared back down. 5-on-4. Has 3 more seconds than the period does. Leach with a chance to break this tie. Tries to start it out with a handoff to Dvorak. That didn't work, so peeling with it is Malakoff. That broken up and thrown back by Melakar.
And don't forget, Messier will be taking a lot of those draws in the power play for the New York Rangers. He's out of the lineup, so he's not available to take those key draws.
A sore spot for the Rangers is their face-off percentage on this 5-game road trip. It's 39.1.
And Theo Fleury does not have a point on this road trip, so there's your second top scorer. Eric Lindros played 1 period in the road trip. They just weren't able to get the job done. Fleury got his nose busted against San Jose. Then he took the misconduct and he got thrown out of the game. That's when he had the S.J. Sharkey incident. Look at these numbers. Since December, or since the 28th of December, 2/28, 12 games, 32 points. Lindros injury, 5 games, 2 points. So you see what the big guy means in the middle for York and Fleury. They're great players on their own, but when you can add a world-class player like Lindros, it's going to make you better.
At one time on this trip, Rico Fata was playing with him. He scratched today. He's at 5'10". Mike York was listed as 5'10", and Fleury listed in the Rangers media guide as 5'6". Had to be one of the smaller lines that you'd see in the NHL.
They went from the fly line to the snail line right there. There's no size right there. They weren't flying without the big guy in the middle. They were still quick, but you need that guy that can break through the defense and create open area, and Eric can do that. Whoever he's played with, you can say what you like about it, what you want about Eric Lindros. He makes people around him better. Johnny LeClaire, Mark Recchi, players like that. Eric gives you room because everyone's concentrating on him.
Glenn Sather, the general manager in New York, said, "You don't do the Lindros deal, you are a mouse forever."
Mike, that deal, he could get hurt tomorrow and not play, and it was a good deal for Rangers because they believe in themselves now. They think they're a playoff team. I don't think that was the case before Eric came here.
That's it. Boy, the net minding has been spectacular. 29 shots by the Rangers and 28 saves, including a lot on 5-on-3 for Johan Hedberg. But let's look at Richter first.
Well, Richter didn't have the work of Hedberg because of the penalties, but when there was a breakdown, usually against a pretty skilled player like Kovalev, Mike Richter was there. Great shot, puck comes out. One more, Toby Peterson was not able to find the net. At the other end of the rink, the Moose Hedberg has been spectacular. 5-on-3, getting the saves, keeping the puck to the outside. Toe save there when the puck went side to side. So they needed goaltending, Pittsburgh, and they got it tonight, Mike.
Dodge Intermission Report with John and John after this message and a word from our ABC stations.
This is the Dodge Intermission Report. Here now, John Saunders and John Davidson.
Rangers and the Penguins tied at 1 apiece last year. When Pittsburgh made their run in the playoffs, it was behind the Moose. The team's not scoring that much at all. They need him even more.
Yeah, the Moose is Hedberg in goal. He has faced the New York Rangers for the second time this season. He has seen 54 shots, and he stopped them all but one. And what you don't understand, though, is why a team continues to take so many penalties and bad penalties. Pittsburgh's having trouble scoring. Their power play is not going, but their penalty killing is getting overworked by bad penalties. And if it wasn't for their goaltender, the Rangers would be up in this game.
Terrific goaltending in that game. Here's a game where the goaltending leaves a lot to be desired, especially if you're the Washington Capitals early on, although Joe Thornton has been the big reason why, redirecting this one for his first.
The big man's on a roll. The big man with soft hands deflects the shot there. This is on the near side on the power play. Thornton gets in on that one. There's a big scramble. There's a loose puck. Thornton comes in late. Bang, he's got the hat trick plus an assist when he won a draw. The Boston Bruins are rolling. Now Billy Guerin's starting to roll too with this team, so you're getting scoring from all kinds of different people. Guerin with 2 now is 23, and Olaf Kolzig for the Caps in goal, struggling some. Washington have a lot of injuries to their defense, and it's starting to show.
Guerin with 8 goals in his last 6 games. The Bruins up big, chasing the Maple Leafs in the East. Colorado and Detroit, Patrick Roy out with the flu. David Avisher gets the start. Milan Hajduk starts the scoring. Big shot, rebound to Skula.
That's Skula moving in, 4th man on the rush. He's the defenseman, scores on the rebound. 1-0 in favor of Colorado. Avisher, the goaltender, had been just fabulous, and all of a sudden one sneaks in on the short side. Datsuk able to score. He gets his 5th. They're tied at 1, but after that, it's all Avisher. Avisher, the goaltender there, robs Brett Hull. He has been fabulous. Avisher coming off a game where he beat the New York Rangers 3-2 in overtime on Thursday night. This afternoon, he's the story in this game as the Avs have been outshot 23-9.
That one's tied 1-1. Meanwhile, the Stars and the Blues, 5-2 is the final. Corey Stillman, goals number 7, 8, 9, third career hat trick. And the Maple Leafs with a 1-0 lead over the Senators. Reichel has the goal, his 10th. 1-1. It's tied after 2 periods of play. More from Eric Lindros in a moment.
This is the Dodge Intermission Report.
Welcome back. NHL on ABC and JD. Eric Lindros back for the Rangers is welcome news for New York and head coach Ron Lowe. But the question remains, he missed 4 games because of a concussion. He has a history of concussions. Surprised that he came back so fast?
Well, the key is, from what I've been told and talking to the doctors, and they keep saying it, when you get a concussion, it's how long it takes to get back to normal. And he's been assured that he's back to normal, having the discussions with the doctor, and he's ready to play.
I knew the severity of it right off the bat. I knew it wasn't a major one. I knew it wasn't even a mid-grade concussion. It was very minor. I felt confident in the fact that things would return. And I think if you just feel confident about things, in general health, you're going to be better off and return quicker anyway.
It's been termed a very slight concussion.
Yeah.
You're very close to Dr. Karen Johnston out of Montreal, and she has assured you correctly that it's nothing of seriousness.
Right. Absolutely correct.
And that you retain that, you just feel 100% because of her...
I felt great going into it. I think that she came out just to make sure, I think just to satisfy, maybe there was a stone unturned, and if there was, then she certainly unturned it. I think it was more, I felt good, I was confident about the way I felt, she reassured me, and we go from there.
When you come back and play, you change your game at all?
I don't think you can change a game. I think you might alter it somewhat. I believe I altered mine from the start, but
in what way? By not being as aggressive, running people over?
Physical. Yeah.
Yourself being the aggressor.
Right. I don't think I was as physical. But this is a freak situation. I mean, you get someone who's got the puck, they're kind of out of control in the middle of the ice. It's free lunch, and free lunch turn into you know, food poisoning. but you know, his butt hit the bottom of my stick, and my stick came up, and then you know, through the hit, it, you know, it whacked me in the side of the head, and that's what happened. You know, it was a chest-on-chest thing, and it was a freak bit. But these things are going to happen. There might be more bumps in the road. I don't know. You know, I'm hopeful that there aren't, and we're doing everything in our power to make sure that they don't occur again. But we'll go from there.
You hope he stays healthy, obviously. But let me ask you this. Early in his career, everybody loved to be on the team with this guy, Eric Lindros. You think back, he's a teenager on Team Canada with Gretzky and Lemieux. Somehow, over the years, that reputation went away. What happened?
Well, I could just tell you, John, in covering the Rangers like I have this season, being around him a lot, the coaches tell me he's a dream to coach. The teammates have full respect for him. And the biggest thing that I've noticed more than anything else is how competitive he is and how much he hates to lose. Theo Fleury is normally a line mate of Eric Lindros's. And Theo was saying sometimes during games, you're playing 4 games a week, 5 games a week, you tend to, you know, sometimes go to sleep, maybe miss a couple of shifts, not really be in the game. He says Eric Lindros will not allow that to happen. He says Lindros pushes me every shift.
And oh, by the way, still one of the best in the game.
Well, absolutely, without question.
Just ask Team Canada. He'll be playing for them. This is the Dodge Intermission Report, the NHL on ABC.
The Dodge Intermission Report. In a 1-1 tie, defensemen have made some marvelous plays. Kasparaitis to Hrdina and then to Kovalev, and it was 1-1. That was in the first period. In the second, a Pittsburgh collision sprung Brian Leetch for the drop pass back and the blast by Dvorak that made it 1-1. From that point on, the goaltender said, you might as well put the shooter-tooter across the net. We're not giving up anything. We'll see if they do in the third when we come back.
The NHL on ABC, brought to you by Dodge. You can take life as it comes, or you can grab life by the horns. Dodge. And MasterCard. There are some things money can't buy. For everything else, there's MasterCard.
20 minutes of playing time left, or maybe an extra 5. It's 1-1 at the end of 2 periods of play.
And that little Canadian kid get here.
I know, that's a very handsome jersey, too. We had talked about the Rangers' futility on faceoffs, but today it's been much better. They're 57%, which is a tremendous improvement for them from 39 on this trip.
And draws are going to become huge in the third period. Defensive zone draws, you got to win them to get the puck out. Whichever team is going to get the most chances off draws, obviously going to get the most chances to score. So both teams are talking about that in the dressing room right now, Doug.
Where were you in 1974?
74, I was playing in junior hockey in Kamloops, British Columbia.
Well, you might have heard this guy. Mike Lang started broadcasting Penguins hockey here in 1974, honored by the Hockey Hall of Fame this year, and Craig Patrick, the general manager, was an inductee into the Hockey Hall of Fame this year. And we get a chance to hear some of Mike Lang's stupendous calls here, as you see. First of all, Craig Patrick being congratulated, and then in the earlier part of the day, Mike Lang being honored. Let's listen.
Oh, get in the fast lane, Grandma. The bingo game is ready to roll. Oh, shave my face with a rusty razor. Oh, great balls of fire. Oh, how much fried chicken can you eat?
He first started at a hockey game in Sacramento at a place called Iceland for $5 a game, doing the games over the public address system while they were being played. He was recalling this morning how the guy that had the job the previous year wanted 10. They said no.
Next to you, he's my favorite, Doc.
Boy, he's got some memorable calls.
Oh, does he
love him here in Pittsburgh. He was in the Western League. As you see, Eric Lindros, another of the star performers.
Who's never been in the Western League.
A collision, and with that, the 3 seconds have long ago expired on what was left of the Ranger power play. So we're set to go here in period 3 at full strength.
Well, let's look at Eric Lindros. We showed his numbers before. I think it's a lot like John Davidson said. He's going to get better as the game goes on, and his next game will be better than this game. It takes a while when you're off the ice for 7 days, 8 days on a road trip. You can't practice as much as you'd like. You're traveling most of the time. So he's certainly a presence out there. Everyone knows when he's out in the ice for sure.
Malakoff tipped it ahead. It's brought on by Theo Fleury. Fleury creeping along, but then had it checked off his stick by Hrdina, and they start it back ahead. Lang headmans onto Hrdina, cruising in and shooting one that got the glass. Good opportunity there for Pittsburgh. Rosabal chopped it on and kept play alive for Lang to maneuver. Tapped it around behind, but it's away from Kovalev. Flip behind for Robert Lang. Hooked one in front that's off Richter, and now started back out by the Rangers in a 2-on-2. Long drive by York, sails off the glass, and a change in lines for both teams. Roosevelt scaled one in that's knocked down by a high stick, but play continues for a backhander that's blocked aside by Dave Karpa on defense. Tipped on for Dvorak to tap out to center. Nedved could not clear it ahead. Now it's brought on, and it's Dvorak again, feeding it back across for a shot by Klocek that is stopped by Hedberg. Rebound up for grabs, and it's taken on by Dvorak. Fanning on a shot was Nedved. The Penguins hustle, but they cannot get the 2-on-1 they'd hoped for, as it's cleared along by Karpa, and right back to him again. Early stages, third period, 90 seconds gone. Sure glad you've joined us on ABC. Dave Strader downstairs, Barry Melrose alongside yours truly, Mike Emmerich, upstairs at Mellon Arena. Let's check in with John Saunders and John Davidson.
Toronto, the only team in the National Hockey League yet to give up a shorthanded goal, but Mike Fisher takes advantage. How about this move?
Arvidsson chips the puck up, and now Fisher has the puck inside, outside on Jurke and Lume. Cujo didn't have a chance. A great shot by Fisher.
Meanwhile, Cujo just took one off the face mask. We'll let you know if he's all right. Tied at 1.
Matt Sundin with 6 goals in the last 5 games, and he has changed what everyone in this league thinks about him now. Strong performance last year in the playoffs and the losing cause against New Jersey in 7 games. And has been the bona fide leader of this Toronto club. Not all guys that wear the C are real leaders in the classic sense.
Hey, Matt got cut the other night for about 12 stitches under his eye, went in, put a mask on, came out and scored 2 goals in the rest of the game. So I gained a lot of respect for Big Matt after that.
Richer tries to get through Berard. Beach held off as well. Starting ahead and able to nub a pass on was Toms. But then it's broken down. Looks like both teams are concentrating on defense right now. 20 into the third.
And times have changed. You never used the word defense when you came into the Mellon Arena the last few years. It was offense, offense, offense. Just let the try and outscore us. Those days are over here in Pittsburgh.
First guy to mention that and mention it loudly was Rick Kehoe, the one-time big sniper here. He took over as coach for the 5th game of the season. For the first time since then, the Penguins are 4 games below 500. Here is Lang protecting and had no one to deal to, so it's coughed back up for Malakoff. Through one that just banked back off and is grabbed and then outletted by Roosevelt. Skipped across, Mike York shoved down by Kasparaitis. And then Lindros ran into Kasparaitis.
Well, you got to let Kasper. He's in the middle of everything over there.
A penalty coming up to the Rangers. Moving in is Kovalev. Wrist shot. Had it back out and covered by Richter. And the Rangers will go shorthanded.
Well, normally I'd say this is a big break for the Pittsburgh Penguins, but they've already given up a shorthanded goal. They're really doubting themselves on the power play. This will either be a huge momentum shift and they'll score, or it'll completely zap the emotion they got that they built the first 4 minutes of this period where they played pretty well.
New York, 14, 2 minutes for slashing.
Don Van Massenoven, a slashing call.
Well, that's Steele's 2nd slashing penalty of the game. He's a lot like Kasparaitis. He's going to do some things you love, and he's going to do some things that'll make you tear your hair out as a coach, I'll tell you. Cut in the nose, cut under the nose. He's smiling because he doesn't think it's a good call. Bottom line is Pittsburgh, an advantage 9% power play, is getting one more chance.
Well, it'll be Beach to work with Richer on the right, just to start things off. And on the left will be Robitaille.
Robitaille's first game since coming to Pittsburgh.
He taps it back for Janssen, but it's cut off by Richer and given to Janssen, then to Beach. The other point man is Laukkanen. Beach to the back now. Janssen with a drive, and it was deflected wide. Chopped on by Randy Robitaille and fed to the back again to Janssen. Janssen flipped it on for Beach. Beach steered away by Leach, but it's worked on the half boards, and crisply back now to Janssen. Drive! Oh, and getting the glove on that and hanging on is Richter.
Well, again, they moved the puck around well, but there's no one in front of Richter. Richter's seeing that shot from Laukkanen, and Laukkanen has got a good shot, but he's certainly not Al McGinnis. Right there, Richter's talking to people, telling them where to be, what he wants done. He's a leader back there. A lot of times, a goaltender can never wear a C in the NHL, but Richter is a captain type. He's telling the people what he wants, where he wants to go. Laukkanen gets it. He likes to move and going side to side. Beach is the young player, one of 3 they got in a Yager deal. Now there's a shot, but look at Richter sees it. He's going to make that save.
Each will have to win it again. Opposite Nedved. They'll retreat to center. Sylvain Lefebvre working in back along with Brian Berard. Up front, Peter Nedved, as well as Radek Dvorak on the penalty kill. Breezing along now is Richer, but he wiped out and took a Ranger with him. Meanwhile, he lost the puck, and it's cleared back down.
Exact same thing happened when Lang got hit by Lacouture, same player in his team. He lost the puck right there, and that created the outnumbered chance against him. He got a shorthanded goal scored against him.
Kovalev brings it ahead on the handoff from Janssen. Kovalev drifting with it now. Kovalev a shot, and it went wide. Chipped back on by the Rangers, and so retreating to play it again is Roosevelt on the setup from Hedberg. Now he's challenged enough that he had to beat it across because Jeff Toms was nearby. Now Hrdina with one that missed for Lacouture. He's trying to burrow his way in and is able to nub it along for Hrdina. Scaled around to the point to Kovalev. Alexei Kovalev with a wrist shot. Score! And the Penguins have broken the tie on the power play.
Mike, that's what I've been talking about with Kovalev's shot. This guy has got as hard a shot as there is in the NHL. Wrist shot, slap shot, snap shot, any shot he uses. There's not many people that shoot the puck better. He's playing the point in the power play. They do that quite often. That's another reason they give up a lot of shorthanded goals, playing a forward on the point. But he just throws the puck at the net. Right here, Malakoff, you see, get in traffic area, and Lacouture gets in traffic area, and Hrdina's there. So he really doesn't even see this puck coming through all that traffic. Alex waits. He's not trying to score on this goal. He's just trying to create a loose puck chance, either rebound. Theo Fleury's watching from the penalty box. And Ron Lowe's going to talk to me when I get over there. Second slashing penalty of the game.
Longest 85 feet of the afternoon.
Was it ever? I've done that walk-up game a few times.
Kovalev, 15th of the year, second of the day. He has hat tricks against both New Jersey and the New York Islanders, so one other metropolitan area team around New York that he's failed on. He's at least got 2/3 of the way with Hrdina and the Lacouture. And those were back-to-back hat tricks after he came back from knee surgery. Welcome back. Well, here's Malakoff. Time of the goal, 4:33, a power play goal. Kovalev this year, that's his third man advantage tally.
Well, Pittsburgh can't try and win this game 2-1 because they're not good enough defensively, and the Rangers are too good offensively. They must continue to attack.
Some good news defensively for them. Ian Moran, it looks as though he told us this morning he would be back Tuesday if his x-ray was good today. It was to be conducted this afternoon. Lindros hit by Kasparaitis. Lang flipped one off the glass and it skipped back out. And here's Kovalev. He's got a man moving with him, Roosevelt. Kovalev moving in for Roosevelt. Score! A ricochet! And it's 3-1.
Well, if I'm Rick Kehoe, I just keep getting Kovalev on the ice because he's hot. He's playing against a team that traded him. He's motivated. He's on fire. He's making things happen, and that might be his goal, Mike. I'm not sure that went across to Roosevelt because they're congratulating Kovalev on the play right there. Let's take a look at it. Puck's turned over. Lang just throws it out. There's a bounce over Malakoff's stick. Now Kovalev jumps in there, and he's going with Roosevelt, the defenseman. I'm not sure that got to Roosevelt. That might have hit off the New York Ranger defenseman. Let's take one more look. That's exactly what happened. That's Kovalev's goal, Mike. You called it. Southwest Airline goal cam. Let's look at it one more time. That hits the Ranger defenseman Kluchuk's skate, and that goes into the net. Hat trick for Alex Kovalev.
3 hats have found their way onto the ice, and that is the way it is when you don't know who's got it.
And you don't want to waste a very good hat,
well, now,
sure.
Here they come big time now.
Those are $20 hats. You can't be throwing those away just because you think it might be his goal.
There was a time when there was a Pittsburgh Penguin who got the hat trick a day later. His third goal was one that was put into the net by a Detroit player named Hank Monteith. And they didn't learn until the next day that it should have been awarded to the last to touch the puck rather than the nearest guy to it. And so it was the only career hat trick a day later of a Pittsburgh Penguin named Glenn Sather.
Glenn Sather? Oh, where do you come up with stuff like that, man? Oh, that's unbelievable. Let's take a look at this thing one more time. Glenn Sather wasn't a household name in those days, folks. I can guarantee you that. He was a struggling forward, not like this guy. Alex passes it. You get it to the net in some capacity, good things are going to happen. Goes right off Kluchek's foot. And that's about a size 13 skate there, ladies and gentlemen. Off his stick, off both skates. and into the net. Maybe this is a turning point for the Pittsburgh Penguins because they're getting a couple breaks. They've killed 2 5-on-3s off. You finally get a bounce off a couple of skates into the net, and it's his 3rd hat trick of the year, as you mentioned, against New York Metropolitan team.
And within the Atlantic Division, that leaves only Philadelphia that he hasn't exploited yet, and we'll enjoy watching him here next week. Some of you will as well on ABC when Pittsburgh entertains St. Louis. The NHL continues next Saturday on ABC with more exciting regional action. In addition to the one we mentioned, the Rangers and the Flyers, and Eric Lindros going back to Philadelphia, the Stars and the Red Wings, and Eddie the Eagle Belfour and Dominic Hasek. A couple of guys headed to the Olympic Games as well. Start time 1 Eastern, 10 a.m. Pacific. Check your local listings for the game in your area.
Next week, he'll be seeing a guy called Pronger in his face next Saturday, I can guarantee you, for the St. Louis Blues.
What do we have? Something off the face-off, and Kostopoulos is one guy going to the box, and it looks like there will be 2.
And again, Mike, if you follow history, you got to think he's ready for another back-to-back hat trick against the next team he plays. So there should be some fear
in Chicago.
In Chicago,
where they will be playing tomorrow.
And they do give up a few goals to Chicago Blackhawks. So another one of my favorites in the penalty box, Matthew Barnaby. He's trying to get a little emotion, a little enthusiasm in his Pittsburgh or in his Ranger buddies.
During his time in Pittsburgh, there was an organization called Barnaby's Brigade.
He gets a fan group wherever he goes, Mike, wherever he goes.
It's only taken a little time in New York, but
he's like a rock star.
Probably be one there, too. Kovalev from Hrdina and Lang on his 3rd goal of the afternoon and his team's 3rd goal, 5:21, the time of it.
Instead of Bono, it's Barno.
Right, thrown ahead, but it skipped on back for Malakoff. 4 aside now. Think it favors one team over the other?
Yeah, it definitely favors the New York Rangers because they got more offensive players and offensive defensemen, which are very important 4-on-4. Those are the guys that get open 4-on-4, are the 2 guys coming late. Pittsburgh does not have offensive defensemen. Rangers have Malakoff, Leach, Berard, guys who can jump into the play.
Here's a feed on the wing. Oh, and the shot was sailed wide, and unhappy about that was the guy who had the chance, Dvorak.
He's definitely been the Rangers' best forward. He's got a ton of chances. He's got the shorthanded goal. He can fly, and he's getting open.
Here's Nedved, the guy who is taking advantage of him getting open. Peter Nedved had a long stretch without any assists. Leach fed one across, and that one is chipped away. Still does not have one today, but in that time he scored 7 goals, so he's not been pointless. Kovalev trying to swagger by is belted to the boards by Leach. No one in the NHL has a 4-goal hat trick this year yet.
Alex is skating like he wants to be the first one, Mike.
He likes the opponent, doesn't he?
Yes, he does. Oh, he loves playing against the Rangers.
Roosevelt wedged off by Fleury. It's lifted back out again by Kovalev. Coming by is Lefebvre, but also Lang. Nearly 7 minutes played. Half a minute to go on the coincidental minors. Off of Kovalev. Back ahead with it and walking it on is Berard. Bumped into, and the puck careened across to Kasparaitis. Away from Berard. Lifted back on. And it's outletted by Hrdina. Nice little tap by Richer, brought in by Kasparaitis, and a shot that is fought off and then held by Richter. 3-1 Pittsburgh, middle stages, period 3.
Alex Kovalev has all the goals for the Penguins. They lead at 3-1. Well, Michael Jordan recently became just the 4th NBA player to score 30,000 career points. Mark Messier recently became just the 3rd NHL player to reach 1,800. Mark, I know you're thinking about other things, particularly the injury. Give us an update on your shoulder.
Well, I've been pretty sore the last couple of weeks. I came back and tried to play a couple of games, but the shoulder wasn't getting any better, so I decided to take a few games off and try to get 100%.
Well, we had Mario Lemieux on in the second period. I know it's difficult at any time when you have to watch, but especially when you're hurt and you feel you can't go out there and help your team.
Well, you always like to be out there trying to help out. It's been a long road trip for us. Tonight was a big 2 point for us to put us over the hump on this road trip, but we scored a couple goals here, making it a little bit tough for us.
You know, I made the mention of Michael Jordan and Mario Lemieux. Those guys have made comebacks and pretty much played at the level they played at. You're a little older than those guys. Your role has had to change. How has your role changed, and it hasn't been tough to accept the way you have to play the game now?
Well, for any way that's for me to accept the role is if we're winning, and so far this year we've had a great season. Winning has been the most important thing for me my whole career, and as long as we're winning, I'm happy.
Earlier in the broadcast, John Davidson was talking about Eric Lindros and the perceptions about him, and now as you see his organization, have you been at all surprised with the way Eric has handled himself coming into New York?
Well, I'm not surprised, and we're certainly happy to have him. I think that the way he's come in and played this year has been incredible. There's only one Eric Lindros. There's only one guy that can do what he can do on the ice, and he's proved it again this year.
Well, there's only one Mark Messier, and we appreciate you taking the time.
Very much.
Back upstairs, guys.
Okay, thank you, gentlemen. A couple of pretty good chances there, but it is brought back up by Chris Beach. And Beach just drops it in from the red line. Full strength now, puck poked along by Mike Richter. And taken along by Wayne Primo. Shoved one out in front, and Lacouture was positioned there. Here's Kasparaitis with a shot. That one is blocked in front. So the Rangers start to bring it back up again. They've outshot the Penguins 30-21, but are trailing by 2. Berard a shot. That's deflected away. Yanked back on by Kovalev, who is out there again for Kasparaitis. Kasparaitis moves in with Roosevelt. Shoots one. Pad stop. Rebound! Up high, or it might have been number 4. Let's check in with John Saunders and John Davidson.
All right, guys, from Mark Messier, one 40-year-old to another. Igor Larionov, just slightly older, gets the goal here.
On the breakaway, on Abisher, it's 2-1 Detroit. The place exploded, just exploded. Not long after that, Yzerman hit Shanahan, 3-1. The Red Wings on a roll, total control of the game.
Shanahan, point number 998. Yzerman, assist number 997.
Right here, you look at the game summary, it's very obvious what's important. And right there, folks, it's a 0 for 6 in a power play. So they're 0 for 21, I believe, in their last 21 chances. That must change. And another thing that must change is the way they're defending Alex Kovalev. Right here, puck just comes right to him. And John Davidson mentioned, if you're a good player, the puck finds you. And tonight, it's finding Alex big time.
Here's Robert Lang shaking one out in front. That one chopped loose by Hrdina. And it's jammed wide on the backhand by Kovalev. Here's Lang, trying to fight his way to the front, working the outside. Lang had it knocked away, fought to center, but then it's lost to Kasparaitis, turns it back on, and Kovalev's flick came on to Hrdina eventually. Then to Lang, then to Hrdina. Hrdina dumped one that went off Leach, taken by Malakoff. Fired back around, but stepping to the half boards as Lang got in the way of that and intercepted it. Fed to the back now. Kasparaitis, another shot, and that one turned aside. Thrown to the point, but cut off and started back out now by Lindros. Drops it on for Leach, headmans it on to Fleury, then back to Leach again. Leach with a shot, deflected, it went wide off Hedberg's goal stick. On to the back it comes to Leach again. Leach able to pull away from one. Wrist shot is deflected up over the glass by Robert Lang, and play is stopped. Middle stages, third period. We'll be back.
Oh, Mike, they're two of my favorite players. Theo Fleury on the left, Darius Kasparaitis on the right. Theo looks a little angry, and he's got a reason to be angry. Watch to the left of your screen. Right there, nothing happening, nothing happening. Oh, a little love tap right in the chops. And don't forget, Theo got his nose busted about 4 games ago against San Jose, so that's very, very tender. You don't lose the pain in that right away. So Theo got up, and there wasn't a lot of love in that crease area, Mike.
Yeah, this is a tough business. Well, not a game for the faint of heart.
But in the dictionary, the word competitor, there's a picture of those two guys right next to it. Every team would love to have those two guys in their lineup.
And the picture is just one picture of 2 of them shoving at each other.
And their faces are cut and battered and black and blue.
Well, if Theo thought he was going to get a sympathetic ear from the referee Don Van Massenhoven, he was wasting his time. Up along the wall, not only being a referee in general, but being an Ontario provincial policeman dealing with speeders on the highways up there for 10 years. You hear a lot of excuses. Here's one that's slowed down. Melakar got a piece of that. It's hooked in front, blocked by Hedberg. Good protection, and Ferentz could skip one that went back down.
Kovalev's been great, and he's got 3 goals, but the best player tonight has been Hedberg. He's made the key saves, especially on those 2 5-on-3s.
Johansson with one that went out of the glove of Hedberg, kicked at and then taken by Hans Janssen. Nearly 9 minutes to go, third period. Kovalev with a hat trick. Not a natural. He had one in the first, then Dvorak tied it, and then he got 2 more. It came later on. Both in the third period here, and they were not separated by much. 42 seconds apart. Brought back ahead by Dvorak. Split back in deep and striding forward is Yanni Laukin. Taken to the glass with some authority that time, but It is played to center and then checked off was Lefebvre so that the Penguins can bring it ahead in a 2-on-1. The flip is over to Richer. Getting a glove on it was Richter. A veteran who can bury it, but did not that time as Richter prevailed. Now moving in at Beach with a shot. Oh, and Richter got that one too. Let's hear from another ex-goaltender, John Davidson, with John Saunders.
And two of Barry Melrose's favorite players, Ty Domi and Darcy Tucker, hook up.
Couple of real cuddly guys, aren't they? Domi, this is a power play. Domi to Tucker, a gorgeous play. Tucker finishes it. What a pass by Domi.
Leafs up 2-1.
Well, we're talking about Tucker and Domi, but Fleury is just like those guys, and not just tough on the ice. This guy's got a tender side. See right here on his skates. He's got it for the fire department of New York and for the New York Police Department. He wants to make sure he never forgets about the people that gave their lives September 11th in New York, and make sure no one else does either.
Here's Lang out in front, and another terrific save. Another one. Oh, and Richter got that one too. Well, he is all they've had in this third period, and he's been brilliant despite the fact that he's been scored on twice. One went off one of his defensemen. Well, it's 8 minutes left, so we certainly can't put this thing away. But Mike Richter, again, I think he moves as well as any goaltender. Don't forget, this guy's 35, 36 years old. He's had 2 major knee surgeries. Works at keeping those knees in shape and keeping himself in great physical conditioning to be able to move like that consistently year in and year out. Toronto atop the Eastern Conference standings. If they go on to win, they would be tentatively 4 ahead of the Rangers. A shot right in on goal by Michael York is held. And an important game for Pittsburgh because they are 4 points away from the last playoff berth, trying to fight their way back in. Well, look at this. They win this, Mike. Bang. Everything's getting more positive. They played a good game. Kovalev's starting to score. Hedberg, who has been struggling, played a very, very strong game. And don't forget, you get Mary Lemieux back maybe Tuesday, and Moran is back maybe Tuesday. So you got a lot of positive things happening. They just got to make sure they get the job done, get these 2 points, and then they can start building. Well, when they get 3, it's pretty prominent, isn't it? Well, that's a big number, but I got to say that just about every team in the NHL have those same numbers. You score 3 goals in the NHL today, you're going to win a lot of games. At the half boards, they scrap. Lindros worked over a bit from behind by guess who? Kasparaitis comes up with it. Lindros working on him. Kasparaitis scaled it off. Lindros and Kasparaitis, a heavy collision. Meanwhile, Hedberg makes a save. The game within the game right now, and we get a stoppage of play. One of the referees, and this is Mark Joannette, has spotted something. Steele again, it's Fleury again. Another slash. You gotta love this guy. Oh, it's behind the play. Look out, get out of the way, folks. S.J. Sharkey got in the way. We all know what happened to him. Steele's gone. Oh, man. Fire sometimes is good, and you can build stuff with it. Fire sometimes is bad, and it destroys things. Tonight, it's created some bad stuff with penalties. Boy, look at Ron Lowe.
Man. There are some great battles down behind the net, Mike. Lindros and Kasparaitis, since the opening puck drop at the start of this game, Kasparaitis and Lindros have been facing each other. Right here, right off the bat, Kasper finds Eric. A little bit later now, just off before the penalty on Fleury, whacking and hacking and smashing and backing. Kasparaitis loses his stick. He grabs Lindros, he throws him, picks up a stick, gets back in the play. And you're right, game within the game, without a doubt.
Let's listen for this. It's a slash.
You don't have to listen. You know it's going to be a slash.
No, why did he go to the locker room? I thought maybe there was misconduct tacked on top of it because there's still some time left.
I got to think there is a misconduct.
Well, it's only been announced as a slash. Just a single minor penalty, and they sent somebody over to serve it, but I'm not sure why he left.
Oh, there's Ronnie Lowe. We'll take a look at it right here. There's Steele right off the bat. The minute was called. He gave the referee the sort of your nut sign. He goes, knocks on the door, open the door, and then everyone else clear the path, get out of the way.
Well, it's held by Laukkanen on the power play, and a shovel shot was blocked, as you see how close Theo is creeping to Kevin Sawyer.
But not in size. He's not creeping in size.
No. Kevin may be forced to pick it up a little bit. The major department here wants to keep that lead. All right, worked in deep by Beach. Tried to get a pass to the front, sort of half-hearted with little steam, and it's brought ahead now by Brian Berard. But it's turned over, and the Rangers are in the midst of a change, and here's Beach crossing. Shooting one that's blocked. Now Richer sent it wide after Richter had gone down. Still plenty of power play time to Pittsburgh. They've got a 3-1 lead. Penguins have had a very solid performance here. There was just one lull, and that was at the start of the game. The Rangers are the tired team, having been on a road trip for 9 days now. When teams have had road trips of 6 games or more, only one team out of 10 that have had those this year has won the last game. And that was Anaheim when they beat the Rangers earlier in New York.
And again, Pittsburgh can't self-destruct. They can't give up a shorthanded goal here. We mentioned before they've given up 8, the most in the NHL. They got to play smart, but yet continue to attack. Make the Rangers go 200 feet to get a scoring chance.
Lang crisply to Hrdina. Fed across for a shot that got the glass from Roosevelt. Now it's Lang. Dealing it along, but it kicked back and had to be played by Roosevelt at center. In case you're wondering, Kovalev is indeed out there, looking for number 4 of the afternoon.
If Pittsburgh was farther ahead, they would be looking for Kovalev to try and get him 4 goals. 3-1, you can't be doing that. The game is more important than Kovalev getting 4 goals.
Roosevelt connects with Kasparaitis. He has been a very valuable player for the Penguins in a number of occasions, but particularly this afternoon. A triple threat with hitting and strong defensive play, but also setting up the first goal. Now here's Manny Malhotra.
He's been awesome, Mike. He's been in their face. He's been physical. He's passed the puck very well. He's been in a lot of good things for Pittsburgh tonight.
He almost took them out accidentally on the golf cart before the game. Randy Robitaille was hit from behind and angled right back in for a play to be made by Hedberg. And it's around the safe one, past Kostopoulos. Leach across, drive, and a sprawling block by Kasparaitis again. Kasparaitis trying to hold his man off as it's fed to the front, chopped away from Kostopoulos. And now the Rangers can attack again, forced around behind. And Kasparaitis able to peel away from Jeff Toms and clear it.
Kovalev, the Moose, Hedberg, and Kasparaitis, 3 stars of the game, no doubt about it.
It may seem flimsy, but I like the Russian team's chances to medal in the Olympics, and it's guys like these, not necessarily for feisty play, but for the skill that they have. Robert Fetisov's got a very strong team and a fast one.
Well, I like Sava Fetisov running it. That'll be good news. Now, what's happened in this game? One thing, Kovalev. Watch this shot. He's looking at that spot, folks, a little bit later. He's on the point, the power play, throws the net, and he gets a little bit of luck here, but that's okay.
Dave Strader back in Pittsburgh. It's often said about hockey players who can skate like Alex Kovalev that they can fly. Well, in this case, he literally can fly. He's a licensed pilot. He owns a twin-engine Cessna that he and his wife sometimes take on shopping trips to New York City. I'm waiting maybe after these latest Budweiser commercials for Barry Melrose to buy a plane and put one up in Warren County Airport.
Oh, I got education costs. I got kids in college and prep school.
You got a future Olympian. Hey?
I'll settle for a doctor.
Here he comes, looking for 4. Bring it off the pipe, and it sails into the seats.
Man, Alex is invisible tonight. They can't find him on their radar. He's getting behind them. He's shooting from in front of them. It's one of those days, and he's had him before. Let's take a look at it. There's people around him. York turns the wrong way. There's the puck. Now let's look at this rocket. I tell you, this guy can shoot. He's got Richter beat, but he can't put it in. Last time a player had 4-goal game, Jaromir Jagr against these New York Rangers. I'm sure that's a night they would like to forget.
It's also a night to watch a couple of extra hits there on Mike York by Kasparaitis. I think they'd like to see some of those in Washington.
Oh, yes, they would love to see him get a 4-goal game in Washington. Right. Jagr we're talking about, folks.
Capitals, a mysterious team, but there are a lot of them down in that part of the... Well, here he comes. Alexei Kovalev moving in again. Shoots one, save, rebound, another save. Chop back Hrdina, and that one blocked aside. Fed to Kovalev, another shot saved by Richter without a goal stick. Oh.
That was a case of Lang trying to get Kovalev number 4. Robert had a good shot from the right side of the net, but he elected to give it to Kovalev in the slot.
Laid back ahead for a flip across to Richer and dealt back in. Richter fires it around. Kovalev is off the ice right now. Probably won't be long. Rick Keogh understands this stuff.
Yeah, Rick was a goal scorer. He knows he wants to be out there.
Locatour dealt it along. Wayne Primo held up. Hooked right back near Samuelson by Richter. Hooked on Richter. Rebound. Score! Primo! And it's 4-1.
That's Primo's second goal in 2 games. So, as I said, this might be a turning point for the Pittsburgh Penguins. A lot of good things have happened. Great goaltending by Hedberg. They haven't been getting that. Goals by their stars. Kovalev with 3. They haven't been getting that. Goals by their role players. Primo now. 2 goals in 2 games. They haven't been getting that. Now you get Lemieux and Ian Moran back. Good things are happening for Pittsburgh. You go to the front of the net. You win some physical battles. Primo right there wins a battle with Kuchek. Puck comes right out to him. And he puts it in. So Pittsburgh's working hard. They've outworked the New York Rangers tonight in full marks for a win.
Assisted by number 44, Stefan Richer, and number 33, Dan Lacouture.
Primo from Richer and Lacouture at 17:01.
Lacouture at 17:01.
So Richer and Lacouture with the assists. Kovalev with 3 goals today. Hrdina with 3 assists.
Kovalev's got 3 goals. He's got a crossbar. He's had everything happen.
Monday night, join Al Michaels, Dan Fouts, and Dennis Miller for the season finale of Monday Night Football. Ray Lewis and the Ravens host Randy Moss and the Vikings. See all the action at 9 Eastern, 6 Pacific on ABC. For more info, log on to ESPN.com. Keyword Monday Night Football. World News tonight, Saturday, coming up after the game. It's got 2:35 in regulation, and the way this has been played now, you like the Penguins' chances big time to collect points numbers 36 and 37.
They just got to hang tough until Mario gets back in the line. Mario mentioned Strack will be back for the last month of the season. You get Ian Moran back. Maybe they can start building on something here again.
This is Richer. And angled back out with just over 2 minutes to play. Walk back onside. Nope. Offside by Berard.
Well, there's Eric Lindros. Let's not forget about him coming back tonight, his first game on the road trip. He's seen a lot of action tonight physically. Right off the bat, Kasparaitis goes head-to-head with him, throws him into the boards. A little bit later, his own buddy McKenna throws a Pittsburgh Penguin player at him. He gets drilled by his own player right there. Comes back, and then him and Kasparaitis have been in each other's face all night long. Kasparaitis played every shift that Lindros has been on the ice. Nose to nose, boy. And he'll be better next game, and he'll be better the game after.
Good thing now is he's coming off a pretty aggressive game. The first one back, and he's got till Wednesday to play again.
And he'll have a couple good skates. He'll be on the bike a few more times. He'll be in better condition. It's always good to get that first game under your belt when you've missed 4 or 5. So he'll definitely be better in the game against Boston.
Wayne Primo with a shot that was stifled, fed on by Dvorak, and turning with it, getting it back to him again, was Nedved. Nedved takes this pass and he's by. Nedved a shot and he got the glass. Jam back along near Ferentz. Kicked off of Nedved. Little pass for Dvorak back to Nedved, and has a couple of guys to deal with named Ferentz and Malakov. Boy, this has been a strong Pittsburgh defense today. 34 shots faced by Hedberg. He's been the best of the defensive players. Here's another one he has to face, and he's able to stop that one that came in off Lefebvre.
They're not booing, folks. They're yelling Moose. That's his nickname here in Pittsburgh.
Played for a team called the Manitoba Moose. Also played for the Detroit Vipers and Baton Rouge in the East Coast Hockey League, where if you think 35 is a lot of shots, goalies do see a lot of rubber at that stretch. And we have a stoppage of play and a hand pass is ruled. And so with 52.7 to go.
Well, what I like about Hedberg, and there's Manny Malhotra, is he's very aggressive, very confident tonight.
Dave Strader, I think, has an answer to our question on Fleury. David?
Yes, Mike, I just saw Theo Fleury. He didn't want to talk to me, but John Rosasco, one of the PR people from the New York Rangers, said Theo did not get any more than the 2 minutes that was announced, so there's probably going to be some disciplinary action, at least from the New York Rangers. Whether or not the league would have anything to say about that, voluntarily taking himself out of the game because he didn't like a call. We'll have to wait and see.
Yeah,
Dave,
point.
you get out of there. You be careful down there, brother. That's not a safe place to be when Theo's mad.
No. David does have a size advantage, but that can be equaled pretty quickly.
And a huge weight advantage.
I don't think I like that word huge. Gee, down to the last 35. Well, the Penguins have to feel tremendous about this. They were not good against the New York Islanders.
They were awful against the New York Islanders Thursday night, Mike. This is the best game they've played in months.
One more tomorrow against Chicago before Mario Lemieux and likely Ian Moran get back for a game back here on Tuesday against Boston.
What I like is they overcame a little adversity tonight. They overcame that shorthanded goal. Thursday night against the Islanders scored a shorthanded goal. They were done after that. Tonight, the Rangers scored a shorthanded goal. They could have folded, yet Alex came right back and scored a couple goals. So the Stars got to lead the way for Pittsburgh. Alex Kovalev is the star. Eric Lindros, we mentioned, had a good first game comeback. He's been hit a few times. He's been in a lot of traffic areas. He looked good. And he will continue to improve. We all hope that we don't see any more concussions from Eric Lindros this year.
Amen to that. Here's Primo on the draw. Puck skipped up over into the seats, and so once again, play is stopped. 35 shots, 32, and the Penguin shots have been even tougher on Mike Richter, who's had to make some brilliant saves and has done that.
Well, that's not enough shots for Richter. Richter likes over 40. His record when he had over 40 shots is spectacular. So 35 ain't enough shots for Mike Richter. The Rangers do give up a lot of shots. Rangers, they got to get a little bit better defensively. They score among the most goals in the NHL, but they give up the most also. That's got to change come playoff time.
Last 3-goal win against Atlanta December 8th for Pittsburgh. A 3-goal win against the New York Rangers here this afternoon. The game ends, but not the ill will. Alex Kovalev almost had 4 several times. Early in the game, he almost had number 2 when he had 1, but he got 3. His team got 4, and they defeated the New York Rangers by a score up 4-1.
If I'm Rick Kehoe, I go in that dressing room and I build on the positive. I build on the play of Kovalev. I build on the play of Hedberg. I build on the competition, the way they competed tonight, the physical battles they won. They haven't been doing that. So a lot of positive things they'll be talking about in that Pittsburgh dressing room, Mike.
Final score 4-1 Penguins. This has been a presentation of ABC Sports, continuing the tradition of excellence. ABC Sports is online at ESPN.com. Keyword ABC Sports. Again, the final: Penguins 4, Rangers 1. For Barry Melrose, I'm Mike Emmerich. Good night from Pittsburgh.